Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here. It's Friday morning, and we are playing Nick Nurse and the Philadelphia 76ers tonight in Scotiabank Arena. And I've got your preview for today, the latest lineup news, and the ref report. We're starting 15 minutes early because I like to get to the spot early. And hopefully Scotty will want to get to the spot early tonight also with some force. That's right. Yeah, let's go. Let's beat Nick. 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 Yes. All right. So we have not beaten Nick Nurse since he switched to being the 76ers coach. All of last year, they swept us. And well, this is something in some ways I want to accomplish this. And in some ways, tonight might be the night, guys. I'm not going to lie. There's a couple of things that are actually kind of in our favor here. You know, the thing about what happened to the Sixers in their opening game against the Milwaukee Bucks was they got out-talented by Giannis Antetokounmpo, Dame Lillard, and all them. Now, in some ways, the Bucks used size to beat the Sixers, but also they just kind of like outplayed them and just had better overall stuff. Now, we could have better top front talent, especially if RJ shows up back in the arena tonight with Scotty. Scotty and RJ may be enough to beat Tyrese by himself because Joel Embiid and Paul George are not playing today. They are both ruled out, and they are not even in Canada. I'm going to tell you that right now. So this is the thing. Now, the thing is, the Sixers will have more talent throughout their full lineup than the Raptors, having so many rookies and young and experienced players. But it has to be the leadership of Scotty Barnes and possibly, hopefully, RJ Barrett that can carry the Raptors against the Sixers and actually surprise people and win this game. The Sixers are not in the right place and organized right now. In some ways, Nick Nurse is pulling punches early in the season, and they're getting investigated for it because Joel Embiid ain't playing. And Charles Barkley's saying, you ain't no nurse. You ain't no steel worker. You ain't no 7 days a week, 5 days a week, a 40-hour-a-week worker. You go and play games 4 nights a week. You should be out there, Joel. And that's what the NBA thinks too. And that's why they're investigating him to see whether he actually is injured or not. This is like smacks of like insurance fraud investigations, you know, like the guy you hit somebody in a car and all of a sudden they get out of the car and they're putting that thing around their neck. You know what I'm talking about. Or the person that's at the grocery store with the water bottle, spraying a little water on the floor, and then, woo, they just slipped all of a sudden. Sometimes you need people to investigate these things. And, well, that's what they're doing this morning with Joel. Injuries real quick. We'll start with the home team. Our team, Clinic is out for the game today still. It's his back. And Darko was asked yesterday if this Kelly Olynyk back problem is a long-term issue. And he said he doesn't think it is. It's just him recovering from a minor injury, but it's not something that should persist for most of the season. But, yeah, we need Kelly back. Seriously, Kelly, put some icy hot on there. Do whatever you got to do. Get some people to walk on your back. I don't know what it needs to be. But, Kelly, we need you back because we don't have enough bigs on our team, and you have to be in that group to help us with the bigs. So, Kelly, fix your back. We need you back. Now, RJ practiced yesterday. RJ was doing full contact 2-on-2 with the coaches yesterday. And you know what? He's doubtful for today is the official word. But I think that man's hungry. And in some ways, he don't want to sit on the sideline and watch Toronto's team lose when he could be out there trying to help them. So I'm going to say this right once again. I'm going to double down on this again and say that RJ Barrett's going to play tonight, guys. And he'll show up and that we will have at least the BB of the Q. And hopefully, you know, Scotty and RJ can together lead the team in a way that's effective in beating the Sixers tonight. So that's what I'm hoping, that Mr. Captain Canada shows up and we get some badass play out of our guy RJ tonight. That'd be awesome. Now, quickly, I think it's a very much likely he will sit tonight. I said that yesterday. He's doubtful for the game due to his pelvis. It's not actually his back. They're saying the way he landed is actually his pelvis. So it's very likely it's the first game after this. It could also be that they want to give him an extra day to heal it, and maybe he shows up on the second night of the back-to-back in Minnesota tomorrow night when we play the Timberwolves. So we'll have to see. Bruce Brown's still out, and Jacoby Walter is still out also for the Raptors. I will think that this is going to be our starting lineup for the Raptors tonight is going to be Davion Mitchell, Grady Dick, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl is my projected starting lineup for the Raptors going into tonight. Now, the Sixers do have some names on their injury list. Paul George was ruled out officially for sure yesterday. He is not getting on the plane to fly to Toronto, so he is not in Canada. He's progressing well in his recovery from his left knee bone bruise, but he will not play this weekend during the two games road trip for the Sixers. Joel, we've already talked about him. He's in trouble with the NBA. They're going to go look at him, and they're investigating him for fraud, for injury fraud, for being a big dummy fraud. That's right. And then Caleb Martin is actually showing up on the injury list for the Sixers this morning. He's listed as probable for the game. He has a right calf contusion. So who do the Sixers have this year as far as who's going to be playing with probably in the game to start tonight? Well, I'm going to say the projected starting lineup for the Sixers tonight is Mr. Tyrese Maxey, of course. Number 0 will be starting point guard. Eric Gordon has been starting at shooting guard for them this year so far. The sharpshooter, Kelly Oubre Jr. at the 3 in the small forward position. Jumping into the starting lineup for Paul George and Joel Embiid, I'm going to guess it's the French great Yabusele, who could be very much starting in this game for them at power forward. And then Andre Drummond is their backup center and most likely to be starting for them at center. So you hear that lineup, and Raptors fans is like, you know what? Listen, the Sixers are very good when they have Joel Embiid. But when they don't have Joel Embiid, they have shown that they struggle in the last couple of years to make sure that they get that same win percentage when Embiid is available. So this is a ripe for a picking kind of night. And in some ways, if we had the motivation to come out there and take it to them, Scott, with force, you could force them to take an L, is what I'm saying, Mr. Barnes. So that's what I'd like. Now, some people have brought up that the Sixers got embarrassed on opening night just like we did, and that they have some gumption to get on the winning side of the column also. That's true. But we'll have to see who wants it more tonight, Raptors. So you go down there and you want it more than Nick Nurse's team. How about that? That's what I want to hear. The other people on the Sixers team are Kyle Lowry, of course. The GOAT will be returning to Scotiabank Arena tonight, and I'm sure he'll get his just ovation from the Raptors faithful. We'll have to hear that. KG Martin is also on that team, Kenyon Martin Jr. Reggie Jackson, Recce Council the fourth. Let's see who else. Jared McCain, their rookie. Adem Bona, another rookie. Jeffrey Doughton Jr. That's right. Our guy, Jeff, he's going to be back with them, probably playing in the game tonight. That's pretty much the group for the Sixers right now this year. And, that doesn't actually sound like that deep in some ways. I know some of those young players are going to play better in different ways, like Bona and Council and stuff like that. But honestly, the Sixers team, I thought that they stacked themselves kind of like the Knicks did this summer. But they really didn't kind of do as much as I remember, because they did lose a lot of good players also, even though they added Yabusele and Martin. So they did lose quite a few players in the offseason also. So it's very interesting. We'll have to see if this Sixers edition is as successful as last year. But yeah, I'm telling you, we've got a chance tonight. And a lot of it hinges on Scotty being pissed about how we played in the opener and RJ Barrett coming back. The referee crew for tonight. Here's your ref report coming in hot and fast right now, like a pizza slice. Tony Brothers is the crew chief tonight, guys. We got Tony in the preseason. We had him in one of the games against the Celtics during the preseasons. It was the one that we lost. But yeah, Tony Brothers. Wait, was it the one we lost or the one? I'm not totally sure. I think it may have been the one we won. Either way, Tony Brothers is the crew chief tonight out of Norfolk, Virginia. We know about Tony. His favorite TV show is Canadian Kiefer Sutherland show, 24. He likes the movie Claudine. He's getting down to some Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, he likes that Earth, Wind, and Fire. His favorite book is the Bible, the good book. That's right. He likes to eat them fried croakers, which is not a frog. It is a fish. He listens to Spotify. He'd most like to visit Israel. That's problematic. And his hidden talent is cooking. That's right. Tony Brothers considers his most memorable NBA assignment to be his first NBA Finals Game 2 between the Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder in 2012. Yeah, Tony's is one of the 30-year refs in this league. There are like 7 of them, and he is one of the 7 30-year refs in the league currently with 31 years. Tony Brothers is not necessarily a good ref to the Raptors in their history. In fact, we have our losingest record out of all 3 of the refs tonight with Tony. We win 46% of our games, just below our franchise win percentage for our entire 30 years. And meanwhile, the Sixers win 51%. So the split is 46-51 for the Sixers with crew chief Tony Brothers. The second ref is the veteran Pat Frayer. Pat Frayer is in his 24th season out of St. Paul, Minnesota. His favorite TV show is Yellowstone. He likes that movie. I'm all right. Don't got to worry about me. Caddyshack, baby. That's right. Get out there, gopher, and do the gopher. He also listens to some Billy Joel. We didn't start the fire. That's right. He likes the book Paper Tiger. His favorite meal is, very interesting. Pat Frayer's favorite meal is barbecue, y'all. This man loves barbecue. This is a good sign. He loves barbecue. Favorite app, NBA, of course. He'd most like to visit Italy, and his bucket list is to play golf at Augusta National and Pebble Beach. Pat Frayer is not a bad referee, guys, and we've had him a lot in the last couple of years, and he seems to be pretty fair. He's one of these, he seems like a nice guy. In some ways, he don't take no guff as a veteran ref would, but also at the same time, he does have a gentle bedside manner in certain ways as a referee. As an Evans Scholarship recipient, Pat Frayer earned a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Minnesota at Hastings High School in Minnesota. Frayer was a member of the football, basketball, and golf teams. That's right. Wow, athlete. Here we go. Pat Frayer is not much better than Tony Brothers as far as win percentage. He is the ref that's right below our franchise average for the 30 years at 47% winning. We win 47.4 for our career as a team. And, he does worse with the Sixers. So he actually does favor us. The Sixers win 41%. So the split with Pat Frayer, the middle ref, is 47-41 for the Raptors, guys. So, yeah, there you go. Second ref is actually on our side in some ways. The third ref is the rookie ref, and he's only refed 2 of our games ever. And this is Tyler Merkovich. He's at the absolute top of my ref report spreadsheet because we are 100% wins with him. 2 games he's refereed for the Raptors, and both the games the Raptors won. And I think they were last year, honestly, because he is a very young ref. Tyler Merkovich doesn't even have an NBA ref profile page. So we're 2-0 with Tyler. 2 games played with him reffing, and we won both of them. And meanwhile, the Sixers have never, ever had him ref one of their games before. So this will be the first game that Tyler Merkovich referees for the Philadelphia 76ers. So we'll have to see. I seen Nick Nurse yelling at the refs the other night for all kinds of crazy stuff, complaining about Giannis Antetokounmpo's elbows and the way they go around in the lane. And boy, Nick was already in midseason, turned up, all butthole faced already on the first night. Man, you might need some Prep H for those lips. I'm going to say that right now. That's right. You're getting all red and irritated, Nick Nurse, with your butthole face. Doing all this shit like that, moving around like a spinning wheel or something like that. That's right. So there's your ref report. In some ways, the 2 under refs actually kind of support us statistically. But, yeah, I think it'll be a fair game. Once again, it's Tony Brother rules. So that means don't you give no guff. Just do what you do, Scott. Do not complain. In some ways, I've seen you with Tony in the past work things out. And in some ways, I think Tony Brothers somewhat respects you, number 4. So just keep working hard, keep doing it right. And Tony will be like, yeah, I like that Barnes kid. He's got a good look to him, and he's coming up in the league. And I want to give him a fair call. Maybe he'll even start considering you a superstar if you start doing superstar things in the beginning of the game. Tony Brothers can be your friend, but you got to earn it, Scott. That's the theme right now, is that you can't go ahead and start complaining to him before. You need to give him some stuff that shows you're bona fide, and then you'll get the right to kind of, hey, Tony, come on, man. What are you doing? You need to be helping me out here. Come on now. But yeah, refs aren't super bad. It's Tony Brothers. Some people get upset when they see Tony Brothers. I don't. I understand that look, he's going to reward hard work. And if the Raptors work harder than the Sixers, well, we can get something going over them. We can get something going over. There's your ref report, guys, for tonight. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, I'm trying to paint a story for how we could possibly beat the Sixers at home tonight on a Friday night in Toronto. Let's go, Raptors. Oh, Canada. That's right. Let's go. All right, let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. Coming in hot and fast, 15 minutes early, because it's game day, baby. And you better get ready to get down to the court. That's right. Trevor's saying, worry about your character and not your reputation. because your character is who you are. Your reputation is only what people think of you. That's very brilliant in some ways. That's true. In some ways, you got to think about you for yourself. And if you know you're doing something wrong, well, it'll eat away inside of you. And that's no good. So be living clean and right. That's what they say. Yeah. Trevor's saying, happy game day. Let's go. I have no expectation because it takes time to be good. I don't either. In some ways, there's a lot of no pressure in these situations when, in some ways, yeah, you're a rebuild. If you lose, well, that's what they expected us to happen. In some ways, there's more pressure on Nick Nurse and the Sixers to perform as a team that's supposed to be better than us. So I like that. In some ways, when you have no pressure, you can fuck around and find out. And sometimes you find out you're good and you won. So that's what I'm hoping for today, too. No pressure on the Raptors because in some ways, nobody expects them to win. So that's good. Now, yesterday, we found out that they had like a 2.5 to 3 hour tape session in the morning where Darko watched stuff very specifically with them. He said it was very, very efficient is what he called it, as far as going through and getting the pillars of our team offensively and defensively across to our players again after the debacle of the opening night. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff they weren't doing right at all. And some of the stuff he was talking about was spacing, that they need to allow spacing for Scotty to get lanes to attack and use force coming in. That maybe one of the problems was that the Cavs, along with some of our players not necessarily standing in the right places, made it hard for people to operate with space. And they're going to be concentrating on that a bit more today. And then also, Scotty has reaffirmed that, yes, he needs to be playing with force and aggressiveness, and he needs to come out there and do that. Darko said that he had a private viewing of the game on Wednesday with Scotty by himself, and it was very fruitful and very good for him to go over some stuff with him, just specifically him. But yeah, lots of good practice yesterday, a long practice yesterday with lots of tape and then stuff happening afterwards. They interviewed Grady Dick and they interviewed Darko and they interviewed Jamal Shed. Yeah, Shed is very interesting. They were talking about Shed and his shooting. William Liu asking this question about Shed's jump shot and how he can get better. And Darko basically saying is exactly that he needs to have better balance when he shoots, that in some ways he's not going up straight, and he drifts, and he's one of these kind of ballers that likes to shoot and just kind of jump in the air and he's just a field shooter. Well, he wants to get him more fundamentally squared up with a balance to his shot, and he thinks that could help Shed with his shooting percentage getting better. There you go. There you go. Let's go. Trevor saying the SGA and the Thunder running over Denver. They slapped them around. Listen, I'm going to say something about the Nuggets. The Nuggets are a couple of years away past from their championship. Well, they were the champions before the Celtics. Well, the one thing I'm going to say about Denver right now is you added Russell Westbrook, and that's a whole other X factor and vibe on your team. In some ways, people have said Russell Westbrook is a great teammate, and he's all this and that. And I believe that. But there's also other things about Russell that come with him and his baggage over his long NBA career. And in some ways, I hate to say it, that, Michael Malone has a certain way he likes to run that Nuggets team and is very tight and militant, just like his dad to a degree. And he wants them to be a certain way. Well, there was some casualness in that loss to the Thunder. And it's not just the excellence of the great young Thunder players. There's something weird about the vibe with the Nuggets. And, well, we'll find out on Monday when they come to Toronto and we play them in the fourth game of the season. So hopefully they're still kind of a bit when they come to Toronto on Monday. Maybe we can, that's what I'm saying. I just want to look for opportunities, pull that string of the thread and pull it apart any which way I can against each opponent that we play. So yeah, I'm going to try and tell y'all how we can do it. I will. That's right. All right. Smooth's bringing up something that's very, very important. And I do want to talk about this today. Kawhi Leonard's former trainer is suing the Clippers. And this actually has a lot to do with our team, guys. This is a very, very interesting a controversy for a couple reasons. This is a guy who's from Toronto that's suing him. He was a trainer here that was with Kawhi while he was on our championship team. And basically, this guy, part of the suit, and what he's saying is that Lawrence Frank and the Clippers coerced this trainer to try and encourage Kawhi to go to the Clippers from Toronto during our season. We already know that Doc Rivers, Lawrence Frank, and the Clippers were fined $50,000 by the NBA for tampering in trying to solicit Kawhi Leonard to choose the Clippers in his free agency decision in the summer of 2019. Well, this guy is not only suing the Clippers for them doing really weird shit to Kawhi, and we're going to talk about that in a sec, but also that he's alleging in his suit that the Clippers very openly talked to him about helping tamper to get Kawhi Leonard to leave Toronto. Wow. Did you even know that that was part of it? It's in the ESPN article right here. It's crazy. It's saying right here that after Kawhi left San Diego State, the Shelton guy was hired by Leonard to help him prepare for the NBA, and he maintained a relationship with him through his whole career, basically most of it. And then he says, Shelton, he's not Canadian, by the way. I got that wrong. But he alleges that the Clippers' recruiting efforts were in disregard for the NBA's prohibitions on tampering. Article 35 of the NBA's constitution prohibits teams from directly or indirectly attempting to entice players under contract with one team to join a different team. So he's coming out and he's saying, as part of his lawsuit, that they tampered to get Kawhi to leave Toronto, and he was one of the people they asked to help with this. Seriously, he was told by Lawrence Frank that if he helped Kawhi leave and come to the Clippers, that Clippers would give him a huge payoff and give him a really cushy job with the Clippers. So this crazy. So he did help them do this, and they were successful in getting Kawhi to come to the Clippers. We all know that. And yeah, and this is the next part of why he's suing them, because the Clippers did something crazy. And we saw some picture this summer of Kawhi Leonard in Costa Rica. And it was like weird. I was like, why are we seeing pictures of Kawhi Leonard in the offseason? First of all, because that man's a hermit. He is not on social media. Why the hell are we seeing Kawhi Leonard in Costa Rica all kind of looking weird and drugged up or something? He didn't look right. He looked groggy and he looked kind of rough. Why? Well, apparently in Costa Rica, they do experimental stem cell research and operations. And that there's speculation that Kawhi Leonard this summer was at Costa Rica getting stem cell procedures done to himself that may not be totally legal here in the United States. And that this guy, Shelton, is calling the whistleblowing on that too. Not just the tampering with Kawhi Leonard going to the Clippers, but also the fact that the Clippers have Kawhi Leonard doing very weird shit to his body to try and get healthy. And this is one of the ones that they've been doing. So just a little illumination of what Smooth has brought up here, the two sides of it. This is very, very interesting. And I wonder if this will unravel a little bit more about the tampering with what happened with us. In some ways, this is a huge what if. A lot of NBA fans are now saying, what if Kawhi had stayed in Toronto for another year? What would have happened? It's becoming one of the biggest what ifs in NBA right now. And wow, this David Shelton guy is busting it wide open right now. Wow. Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Dap. Let's go, Coach Darko. That's right. Let's get that W against butthole face. I believe if the players stick to his game plan, we got this. Let's go. Yeah, listen, they didn't really execute some stuff. We lost some stuff. As I said before, we had a lot of people debuting in new roles, whether they were just debuting in the NBA, debuting as a starter, debuting as a franchise face of the team. In some ways, those jitters are out of the way. It's been there, done that, seen that. And it's time to get over it and do better this time and not have that energy that's shaky. Because in some ways, that shaky energy was part of the reason why we got blown out by the Cavs on opening night. So hopefully they come in correct with a better energy that's more confident and more methodical in what they're supposed to do. Darko said in the interview yesterday, a lot of the guys were not moving correctly off the ball and providing cutting situations and opportunities to stir the pot for our offense and get more assists and more generated good, easy baskets. And that there was too much standing around and looking at other people when they should have been moving to be targets, like Grady Dick going to the basket cut and getting a dropped off pass to him real quick. So that's another thing they're going to be, hopefully we'll see a difference from Wednesday, is that our players will be moving off the ball way more than they did in the opening game. So yeah, spacing and moving off the ball are two very, very key things that they talked about yesterday. And of course, They wanted to get back to the pillars of their defense as far as defensive rebounding, rim protection, and doing those kind of things too. And in some ways, we failed at that against Mobley and Allen. And well, we can't afford to do that against Drummond. Come on now. Come on now. Cowboys saying, I'm so glad Kawhi left. Let's grow, Raptors. Can't wait for the shed this defense against Maxey. Yeah, that'll be fun. It's too bad Quick is probably not going to play today because that's a marquee matchup. Tyrese Maxey versus Emmanuel Quickley, two former teammates of each other's in college, and they get up for playing against each other. And honestly, it's a very enticing, attractive matchup because there's so much similarities, and you could actually see those two guys going into some sort of classic NBA shootout like Reggie Miller versus Michael Jordan. So it's too bad Emmanuel is hurt. I hope he can play. He is doubtful and he could play. And that would be awesome if we had most of the barbecue, if not all of the barbecue tonight. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. You know, I said we dodged a bullet with Kawhi leaving too, but also what if is still in my mind. What if Kawhi had stayed? Would we have repeated? I think we might have. We could really say, even if there was a pandemic, which there was, and we had to go in the bubble, with Kawhi around, even if Siakam wasn't exactly 100% like he wasn't, maybe he would have been enough for us to beat the Celtics in that 7-game series to get to the finals. We could have gone all the way, and maybe we would have beaten the Lakers in the finals instead of Miami losing to them. So who knows? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. What if? We don't know. And I think that I would say this. I know for sure in the last 5 years, if Kawhi Leonard had hung around Toronto, he'd have better health outcomes here than he would have down there. In some ways, he had such a dedicated person in Dr. Alex McKechnie as far as load management and doing things right. We did this right. In some ways, it wasn't just what Kawhi wanted. It was telling him, hey, this is what you need, and him going under the guidance of our people. In some ways, the Clippers people don't have the same sports science knowledge as Dr. McKechnie, and that's why they failed at keeping him on the court consistently in the last 5 years. So I would say this, as much as we dodged a bullet with Kawhi going to the Clippers because of his health down there, I don't know. We could say maybe his career would have been saved a bit health-wise because we handled him so well. And there's a reason why he had his greatest professional career year in Toronto the 1 year he played for us. And that was because we knew how to handle his medical the best out of anybody in the league. And that's the what if probably loses sleep over the most, that maybe he would miss so many games if he'd given Toronto a chance to try and repeat. That's what I would say about that. It's very interesting in some ways, but yeah, it is what it is. You can't go back and change the past, Marty McFly. You ain't got no DeLorean. So you go ahead and just live your destiny, Kawhi Leonard, and your weird ass shit getting stem cells putting in you in Costa Rica. That's right. There you go. There you go. Let's grow, Raptors. That's right. Cowboys saying, come on, Papa. Scotty, impose your will today. Shoot a couple of threes. Fine. But attack the rim tonight. Poster dunk incoming. Yeah. This is what we want, Scotty. Start inside, work out. Start inside, work out. Go in there and beat up on Drummond. You made fun of him. It's made him look like a penguin before. You did a little penguin waddle. Penguin waddle. Well, fuck him up and do the penguin waddle again. I want to see that penguin waddle where you make fun of Drummond. We got to understand this guy's not as mobile as Mobley and Allen. So hopefully we can do a little bit more down low. If it's going to be Yabusele and Andre Drummond as the big tag team against Scotty and Yak this time, well, maybe we'll have a better match against them down low with this thing. But Scott, this is the one thing I would say. Joel's not playing. Paul George is not playing. You were playing. Tyrese is playing. That's your hug, buddy. You want to be the top star between you and Maxey. You and Maxey are all-stars. You and Maxey have a very similar career path in some ways. So you need to beat Maxey. You need to be undeniably the top NBA superstar in this game tonight with Nick Nurse and the Sixers coming to Scotiabank tonight. And you have the ability to do this. I believe in you for. That's why I wear your jersey today. And that's why I wear the red one today, y'all, because they will be wearing their regular Raptors jerseys today. Thank God. And I'm going to say this right now, Raptors fans. We're going to keep track of our record wearing the purple jerseys. And at the end of the year, I'm going to talk to y'all about what that record is and show you the evidence of what I'm talking about why we don't need to be wearing purple all the time. Okay? Seriously. So, yeah, be the man tonight, Scott. Papa Scott, Do it for your kid, man, and get out there and bust the Sixers' ass, is what I'm saying, Scotty Barnes. You could bounce back like you did in the 2 games in the preseason with the Boston Celtics. Do that shit tonight. You had a bad game on Wednesday. You come out there tonight and you bounce back in a major, huge, superstar, very, very controlling way. I'm going to control this game and control it to getting a W for the Toronto Raptors. That's what I want to see tonight. That's right. Trevor J saying Kawhi is the Joker. He should be on the Who Stole My Life. Kawhi. What is Who Stole My Life? I don't know. That's some weird reality show. I've never seen that. Nako the Nacho is here. Our guy in Mississauga. How are you doing, Captain Canada, with your team Canada in the Fantasy League? He's saying shame on the Clippers for the treatment of Kawhi. Honestly, San Antonio was doing a better job, and shame on Stephen A. Smith for always saying he's the worst superstar when he has rings. Well, there's a lot of disrespect for Kawhi on ESPN. It centers around Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is #1 Kawhi hater. We've heard him talk about Kawhi many, many times over the years. And I guess Stephen A. Smith likes jumping on that train with him too. I mean, listen, the derision of Kawhi, I can share it with them to an extent as a Spurs fan. It's a weird thing. In some ways, I love him for his Toronto part. I don't like how he treated the Spurs nation and leaving to come to us, but their problems, their issue with him, well, it was our gain in our championship. And in some ways, I can't get mad at that. He's a weird one, man. In some ways, it's like, dude, he may have had the greatest season a Raptor ever had. And that's probably true. He had the greatest season any Raptor ever had as an individual for one season, but it was only one season. And in some ways, he doesn't honor his Raptors championship the way we would wish he would or think about it. And in some ways, that shows that he's a lack of a deep person. I don't know. It's such a weird thing, Nako. I do respect that Kawhi Leonard has 2 championship rings with 2 different teams, and it'd be awesome if he could get a third one with a third team, because then he'd go into a category with LeBron and a bunch of other people like Danny Green that is very special. But I don't see it happening. I think Kawhi is washed. I think that his career is close to be over. And some of those ESPN people keep saying, yeah, you should just retire, bro. And I think they may be right. That dude is very close to this because this shit is just getting old at this point. I mean, why are you getting paid by Steve Ballmer all these millions of dollars to just be getting a courtside seat, Kawhi Leonard? That's what I would be saying right there. Yeah, I mean, listen, the disrespect for Kawhi is earned, but also I say we can find places to respect him. Also, it's complicated, much like Vince Carter. There is a good side and a bad side to Vince Carter and his history with the Raptors. And well, with Kawhi, there's a good side and a bad side to him and everything he's done in his NBA career. You know, there's a very amazing stuff he could have been. I often think about what if Kawhi had the kind of durability and longevity that LeBron has had, where his stats would be, and where would he be in the place of the history of the all-time greats in the NBA. He would be somewhere astronomically, incredibly somewhere if he could have just been consistent in what he's doing. Like if he could have been like DeMar DeRozan consistent with showing up and putting stats down, where would he be on the NBA leaders list if he hadn't missed so many fucking games his whole entire career? And sometimes when you fuck around and fake injuries and don't show up for your team, sometimes that becomes reality more than you want it to be. And I think that's one of the cautionary tales of Kawhi Leonard right there. Yeah. Don't hold out and do shady shit with the Spurs because all of a sudden you have medical problems for the rest of your fucking career. Yeah, it's too bad, man. It's too bad. G is here, our original Raptor Freak trivia champion. A few blowout games last night. The emerging 3 will have a lot of games like this in the modern NBA. Let's get the W tonight. Yeah, this is all, there's nothing to lose. In some ways, that opponent is weakened. They do not have their absolute best player. They do not have their fancy new shiny addition from this summer. And they don't even they may not have their new guy from Miami, Caleb Martin. So, yeah, they're ripe for the picking. And they got beat their ass on the opening night by Milwaukee. And that was very interesting. I saw a funny picture of Doc Rivers hugging Maxey after the beatdown of the Bucks on the Sixers the other night. And Maxey looks off in the distance, doesn't even want to look at Doc. And that says a lot about how Maxey feels about his former Sixers coach. That was pretty interesting picture. Yeah, let's go. Cowboys saying Captain Canada is back. Let's go. I don't know for sure. He's doubtful, but Lex is going to keep doubling down on this and saying, yeah, RJ's going to play. I said it on Wednesday. Why wouldn't I say it today? I know he's just as hungry to play as I am for him to play. And I really do feel like the competitor in him is wanting to get out there and get on the court as soon as possible. In some ways, he wants to help win. In some ways, he wants to beat Nick Nurse just like we want him to. That's right. Trevor's saying the private meeting Darko had with Scotty, hope it was to shake him up. Listen, it's very productive. It's very much like, look, this is the stuff. This is what we need you to do in this situation. This is what we need to do better overall as a group. And this is what, Scotty's going to listen. Scotty really is in tune with Darko, and they're all about figuring this out. Scotty is a student of the game, and he's a genius of the game too. And in some ways, he's a prodigy, and he needs to be guided and molded, and he's going to learn more and more about the NBA game. Scott, let's figure out what will pick apart the Sixers tonight and come in there with that game plan and do it. Execute that plan, because I'm sure your coach is going to set you up with some things and insights, and you probably understand some from playing them from before. And you need to just take your knowledge accumulating over the years of your NBA career and get smarter and smarter about the matchups and the personnel that you have to face, and execute the plan that is using that knowledge to its fullest potential, is what I'm saying. So that's something important as you get more and more vet in the NBA. You can't just be like a knucklehead that comes in the league and it's like, I can do fancy dribbles. I'm LaMelo Ball. No, you need to look at who you're playing, and you need to be more and more intelligent about what you do. This is what makes a guy like Kalos so great on the other side, is that he's a student of the game. He understands almost all the players in the league. He understands tendencies. And Kyle Lowry knows when somebody's going to lag off or do something like this, and he will be opportunist when those things happen. So, Scotty, you could do the same. Kyle's old. He's got a big butt, and he's probably going to retire in the next couple of years. You are young, and you're very athletic, and you have all the things in the world. If you could think like Lowry and use your body in those kind of ways like Lowry does, woo, look out, this league's in trouble. So be like Lowry, be more like Lowry, and be a cerebral assassin in this league is what I want, bro. That's what I want. That's right. Nako's saying, I think I picked the MVP and finals MVP for fantasy. Okay, Gerald. Good for you, man. Team Canada, SGA. That's right, baby. That's who you're talking about right there. Nako's saying, Chris is Cowboys saying, you got Scotty Barnes, Nako? No, he's got Shea Gilgeous Alexander. That's right. And Cowboys predicting a 3-game winning streak for the Raptors coming up right now. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's right. Smooth saying, according to the lawsuit, Leonard and his trainer then met with Clippers management while he was with the Raptors in 2019 and discussed the feasibility of joining them. Yes. Yes. I mean, this was very blatantly open. I mean, is the disrespect towards our franchise was like on display. There were places where Frank showed up, Lawrence Frank, where he shouldn't have been there. He had no business being there, of ours, where the Clippers weren't involved. And like, why the fuck is Lawrence Frank at a Raptors Thunder game or some shit like that? That's the kind of stuff that was happening. And even Doc Rivers was showing up around our team at times when why the fuck are you here? We don't play y'all. Are you scouting us to play at some point? No, we've already played you, Clippers, for the year. Why the fuck are you around our team? I saw it happening at the time, and I was crying foul about it then. And well, I was redeemed when the $50,000 fine came out, tampering. And now we're hearing more deeply about it from somebody who was involved in it. Yeah, it's messed up. And in some ways, I don't know how Adam Silver will handle this. In some ways, I don't have no faith that he will do things in a way that's respectful towards the Raptors. But it's in his best interest to treat all 30 teams exactly the same. Because what if this incident happens with another team and you handle it in a totally different way? It's going to show just how unfair your league is. So if you need to hold the rule of law in the NBA for these kind of tampering issues, Adam Silver, you better do it right, like you would do it for the Celtics or any other team that you love so much. Seriously, because if this happens again and we see this, well, we can say, yeah, this is a very good evidence of how there are haves and have-nots in the NBA. And in some ways, don't poo-poo this just because it's the Raptors. Come down like a hammer on Steve Ballmer and his fancy wall and that bullshit because of this shit is what I'm saying right there. That's right. Yeah. Wow. Cowboys saying, wow. Swiss saying, and that the Clippers ignored warning signs regarding Leonard's medical condition and made him play regardless. Hey, that's right. This is very, very serious, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, these are issues for the Clippers, but at least they got a shiny new, fancy, brand new, state-of-the-art arena, which is very badass. I made a joke yesterday that the trainer, David Shelton, is just not that into it with the Clippers. Ha ha ha, Lex. Ha ha ha. He's not, I guess he wasn't very into it, what they were doing to Kawhi Leonard with the treatment. That's such a dumb dad joke, man. Into it. It's so stupid, man. Can I get a dunk for that one? Seriously, y'all. Give me a dunk for making a dumb bad joke about their arena. All right, I'll just do it anyway. It's your show, Lex. Fucking give yourself a dunk, bro. 178. All right, there we go. I'm at 178 for a dumb dad joke. All right, Trevor J saying, Joel, he called Kawhi, the medical injury specialist, for advice. Joel, he called him? Now, listen, this stuff with Joel is going to be funny, too. We're going to have to see what this investigation comes. I think it's hilarious that it's him right away. I mean, the Sixers did say something this summer. They're like, we're really smart. We're not going to play Joel that much this year so he can be healthy around playoff time. So he's not going to be playing on any back-to-backs both nights is one of the things they said. And I think Nick Nurse is getting ahead of it. He's like, you know what, guys? This teams at the beginning of the season aren't that good. We can afford having you out at the beginning. I know we could be Toronto without you, Joe. So you just sit out. And Shams is like, there's a Shams bomb that the Sixers are getting investigated for Joel sitting out already at the beginning of the year. They haven't even played games. He's already load managing. Yeah, this is very interesting stuff that's going on right here. G saying Randall had a game last night. That's right. Jordan Bolton is on Twitter today saying he was wrong after the first game of Julius Randle in a Timberwolves jersey because he came out and he showed out and he kicked some ass and helped the Timberwolves win last night. So, yeah, Julius, maybe it was he spoke too soon, Jordan Bolton, about whether he wanted to be on the Timberwolves or not because he showed up last night. And there was a lot more better cohesion between him and Ant-Man that they actually were taking their turns and things were going a little bit better with that situation last night. That's right. Randall had a game. I'm rooting for him a little bit now. The Knicks might have overtraded as far as Kawhi, karma to the Clippers for being allowed to tamper with no consequences. That's exactly right. You know, in the world, energy is coming around and fix things and balance things out. And in some ways, this is what's happening. I think that your statement has a lot of gold in it. I think that Randall, you're rooting for him. I am rooting for him, too, to an extent. I'm kind of rooting for DiVincenzo, too, just because of how raw he felt after getting traded out of the Villanova family. And then, the Knicks have overtraded. I think this is official. That in some ways, the reason why the Knicks were so good last year was the rebounding and defense with Hartenstein, the arrival of Anunoby, and they don't realize that they lost all of that. In some ways, your powerfulness up front is gone, New York, and you're not going to be able to do the things you did last year when you were very successful. And it's going to sink in more and more as the season goes on. You're going to find out. The other thing that's very interesting about the whole thing with the Knicks is that wait, I had it in my head just a second ago. I think I lost it for a sec. It's something about Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson has been seen on social media recently. Of course, he is rehabbing and trying to get back to be able to play for the Knicks. And they may very much need Mitchell Robinson because of what I'm talking about. Getting Hartenstein, not keeping him and losing him, and Precious being out. You know, Jericho Sims is not that good. They have injuries. In some ways, I've seen Mitchell Robinson on social media doing like an Insta Live or something. That man looks out of shape. He looks overweight and out of shape. So there's a little bit of news right there. He does. He had like a double chin, and he didn't look like he was in the best of shape. But he's like, I'll get better and I'll come back and I'll play. I love you, Knicks. I'm going to retire a Knick, is what he was saying. Alley-oop to Trevor J. Yeah, I don't even remember what he said. G saying that Raptors ring seems to have taken them both out. That Raptors ring. I don't know. Taking Joel and him out. Okay, I get what you're saying now. All right, Cowboys saying alley-oop to G. Yeah, I don't want to do too much right now. Cowboys saying win or loss tonight. I love this team. Raptors for life. Right. When you know what? Forget about giving them alley-oops. I'm gonna give you a dunk. How about that, Cowboy? Instead of that. Yeah, because I want to get them right. And in some ways, you deserve a dunk instead right now. 184 for saying that Raptors for life. All right, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. NWO for life. Come on now. That's right. Smooth saying, if these allegations are proven to be true, the Clippers will face punitive punishment, meaning they will feel it. Well, we'll see. In some ways, Steve Ballmer's the richest man in the NBA. And I don't know. In some ways, even if you're in trouble, he's going to probably like laugh and run around and smile and dance with the fans in the new section that he built in his new arena. And it maybe he's like, oh, I don't care. Here's $10 million NBA for my fine. I mean, this is that guy has got that kind of money, which is kind of crazy. And that's why in some ways the NBA players get fined so much, because really punish them and make them feel it. You got to find people really high up. So I don't know, when they're punitive to the Clippers, they better give them a really high fine if it's Steve Ballmer and his deep ass pockets. That's what I say right there. Cowboys saying, what's the worst thing that can happen, Smooth? A fine, a draft pick? Both. Both. They could take away draft picks from them. They could fine them. Yeah, there's different ways that the NBA punishes teams. They take away draft picks. They do. They'll take away draft picks from teams. They've done that recently. They did that to the Sixers and the Bulls last draft. They were supposed to draft second round picks and they lost them for tampering. And that's for the same exact thing. So if it comes out that they're tampering, who knows? Maybe this is egregious enough that the Clippers actually lose a first round pick instead of just like a second. That'd be crazy. G saying, give Raptors their draft picks for the next 5 to 10 years should be their punishment. Yeah, I don't know. They don't usually give the team that was hurt the picks. Maybe that should be right. That seems like justice served. But they usually just void them, and there's just not a draft pick in that spot. And there's just 2 less people getting picked into the league. Cowboys saying, that would be awesome. Rely on Masai. We'll have to see. Good morning, fam. Good morning. Kaz on the road. It's Friday. It's the last day. TGIF. That's right. 10-4. Roger that. Roger. Let's see. Nako saying depth on Denver ain't good. I think that may be part of the issue this year. Yeah, I don't know. They've morphed their team so much since the championship year. There are key players that are still there, a lot of their starting lineup, but the backups are not the same team that won the championship. And in some ways, that is downgraded 2 years in a row now. And so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going on with the Nuggets this year. The West is all the more competitive. And the Nuggets got to keep striving to get up there. But once again, every team is in a cycle. And sometimes you rise up and get that chip, and then you got to come down a little bit more. And it's tougher to jump back up and get that chip again. It's kind of like, come up, hit it, high point, and now you're kind of coming down. So maybe that's just a natural thing that's supposed to happen to the Nuggets after their recent championship in past years. Yeah, here. Good morning to Stargate, the man in the machine. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. The 3-hour film session is a good first sign, but each player needs to do more individual private film sessions, just like what Scotty did. Yeah, and I'm sure that they do. It may not all be with Darko. We got to remember there's a lot of assistant coaches on there. And even Jamal, this is what he revealed yesterday in his interview, that he's been working with Vinny Bagnani. And he said that during the summer when he was working out in Houston, they sent Vin over to Texas to work with Jamal Shed and talk to him and get him in the right path with what the Raptors want him to be doing. So this is the thing. We got a very big assistant coaching staff. And it may not be Darko who's sitting with each and one of them. It could be Jama. It could be Pat Delaney. It could be Coco. So that's what I'm saying. They're getting covered and they're going and talking to them. It just may not be Rajakovic is like not every single one of them. They're divvying out to the different assistant coaches and going in there and doing specialized one-on-one coaching with each of them. Often we'll see them before the game and pregame sitting on the bench with a tablet or something. And you'll see like Jama sitting there with Jacoby Walter or Chris Boucher or something like that, Grady Dick. And they're kind of going over maybe some specialty stuff for the matchup that night. So this is definitely occurring, but it's not always just our head coach. It's all of them. Yeah, call the ref. Let's see. We got a new name in here. And let's see if call the ref is friendly or not. We do the ref report. Hopefully you like the refs tonight, Tony Brothers. He's saying Denver's guys besides Jokic haven't taken it to the next level. Yeah. I mean, listen, Jokic is a special player that is a generational, amazing talent that is really a phenomenon. He's like the modern day version of Arvydas Sabonis in some ways, but way better even than Arvydas. He's like if Arvydas had been healthy coming to NBA before he was hurt and then came to the NBA, what he would be like. Yeah, and that you may be insinuating. Our guy from Kitchener, we love that guy. But in some ways, he doesn't get the respect from the league with all-stars and accolades. And in some ways, also, he's inconsistent in certain ways, in some ways that are similar to somebody like Gary Trent Jr. And in some ways, that's part of the problem. Now, big dummy Michael Porter Jr. and his dumbass family and Aaron Gordon are both great players, but also at the same time, they have their limits. And sure, that championship shine can uptick and make them look even better than they actually are, honestly. So it's maybe that, they come down to earth a little bit with those guys. I don't think Russell Westbrook is going to help them in certain ways, but he is interesting and intriguing that he is on that roster with them. Thanks for having a comment. Call a ref. And I hope you'll join us more often. We're here every morning talking Raptors at 9:30 in the morning for about 2 hours every single day. I have a 3-year streak that I've been doing since Scotty basically started playing for the Raptors. I've been doing this channel. Yeah, G saying the league knew some of this was happening, in my opinion. We are not conspiracy theorists when we say the league doesn't want the Raptors to win another chip. Well, yeah. In some ways, it could have been a bit of an inside job. It could have been like, Adam Silver saying, Lawrence, I need you to get him out of there. We cannot take another year of the Raptors being at the top of the league like this. You guys have to get this done. I know Kawhi doesn't really want to go to the Lakers. He wants to go to the Clippers. He doesn't want to be with LeBron. So you guys have to do it. And then like Adam Silver's like, guys, I have to give you a $50,000 fine for the tampering, but thank you for doing this. Who knows? I mean, this kind of shit is shady as fuck. And hopefully the NBA will adjudicate and do this right. In some ways, the Raptors have such weird situations with Azatam and this that in some ways I'm watching you, Adam Silver, for how you deal with all this stuff. And don't act like this, poo-poo this, just because it's our franchise that got screwed over with the Kawhi Leonard tampering. Don't poo-poo this shit. You need to do this right so you set the precedent, because honestly, down the road, this shit happens again and we see a different kind of strength of punishment. Yeah, I have all the ammunition in the world to say that the NBA is a bunk ass league that is not fair and on the up and up, is what I say right there. That's right. Cowboy Sam, welcome. Call the ref. Yeah, call that ref. Call that ref. Yeah, you can call it down there. You better call it here. That's right. That's right. I want to say, you listen, Tony Brothers, you call it on our end, you call it on their end, call it wherever you want. Just call it down the middle. That's all I want. We don't want extra favor, Tony. We don't need a helping hand. We just want a fair chance. And we will play our asses off, and hopefully you'll reward us with trips to the line. I don't want to see no Grady Dick getting hit by Donovan Mitchell, and he's sitting over by Nabatia on the floor of the end line, and there's no whistle. Seriously, you guys call some of the physical plays that are taken out on the Raptors in games. This has been going on for years. Y'all need to start making these calls a little bit better, especially when they're so blatantly right there. Seriously, y'all going to be doing this FIBA physical style. That's great, but don't pick and choose. And when there's a very egregious physical play, like the one Donovan Mitchell hitting Grady Dick out of the air while he's trying to do a layup, yeah, that was very bad. Y'all should have called a foul there. Referees in the first game, Mark Davis and Sean Wright. That's right. That's right. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Game 2, game day, another day to improve. Are you going down the game, coach? Are you going to go to this one? I want to see the Raptors beat Nick Nurse for the first time ever since he jumped ship and became the turncoat coach like a snake, like Kevin Durant. That's right. That's what you are, man. You're Kevin Durant in Oklahoma City going to the Golden State Warriors, Nick Nurse. Yeah, but you ain't got no Larry O'Brien at the end of that like Kevin got. No, snake coach. You cannot do this. Snake player, snake coach, same thing. Cowboy saying 2-finger salute to Skip's Bayless. All right, 2-finger salute to Skip Bayless. I'm all right with that. I like that. That's good stuff. Cool Cat saying Kawhi has a degenerative knee injury. We had the best doctor to manage his injury for peak performance. Clippers karma is giving. Kawhi wanted to go home at all costs. Thanks for help with the chip. Yeah, he left it on the table. You wanted to go home so bad. That sounds like a loser, man. Seriously, you're supposed to be battling out your career in your prime years, and you want to go home like you're retiring already. Maybe that was the action right there. It's like Kawhi's like, I need to go home because I feel like I need to retire, but I'll act like I can still play. And you can pay me, Steve Ballmer. Oh, I love this, Kawhi. You're going to be great for selling tickets and scamming the fans of the Clippers into thinking we're going to win championships. So, yeah, Kawhi, I'll pay you millions of dollars to sit on your ass at courtside and wear street clothes. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, that was a red flag right there. Why do you need to go home so bad, Kawhi? Seriously, why do you need to go home? That's what people do when they want to retire. That's what people do when they want to go off in the sunset. And well, that was way too early, bro. You left a repeat championship on the table in the 416, bro. Woo! Let's carve up Kawhi a little bit more today. Let's go. Trevor's saying Grady said Darko is a very smart coach. Yeah, he is. I mean, we get that impression. Casual's going to get mad. Casual's going to talk shit. Beyond's going to get mad, talk shit about Darko. In some ways, I see what Darko's doing on that floor, how much he commands. You know, there's a lot more to Darko as far as he's present. He's active. He's aware. He's not like missing shit. Some coaches are like, it moves so fast on the court. There's so much going on. You got to keep track of all at once. And Darko's on his shit. He's always on his shit. Whether it's talking to the refs, talking to the players, coaching, scheming, talking to his assistant coaches, this dude is engaged and he has a lot of experience coaching. You can tell he's been in a lot of different situations. You know, Tyler Ford did a recent interview on the NBA referees Twitter account, and it was very interesting. He's talking about being a ref in the NBA. And, you know, you have to know the rule book through and through, and you have to know all kinds of rules that you may never call plays on for like your whole entire career. You may have to call it once out of your whole entire 30-year career, and you have to be ready to do that. And you got to think about that. You know, basketball is a weird sport where situations arise and parameters and specific things are happening, and you never know in a situation where the referee may have to deal with something that they've never had to deal with in their whole entire career and make a very snap judgment right then based on the philosophies and the rule book of the referees. Now, take that and apply that to coaching. Darko has been coaching for like 30 years, and he's coached little kids in Serbia to start. He's coached in professional leagues in Spain. He's coached in the G League. He's been an assistant coach for teams. He's seen a lot of different situations. And the depth of Coach Darko's experience is a lot deeper than just being a first-year coach last year in his second year now. This man has been and seen a lot of stuff. And people have to respect that about Darko's knowledge, even if you don't see it, even if you're not aware of it. This man has an encyclopedia of plays. He's a brilliant basketball mind. There's a reason why Bobby and Masai chose him. And they don't pick coaches to get them wrong like Kevin O'Neal and bullshit like that in the mid-2000s, y'all. They wanted to get the right person because they understand jerking around the team with a different coach after 2 years, every couple of years, is not healthy for the team. In fact, that's the shit that made Vince Carter want to leave and go to New Jersey. So this is one thing I will say to people like Beyond and other people that hate our coach. When I said he's a long-term investment on the To The Point show this week, that's what I meant. Is that how long did we take to pick who our coach would be after Nick Nurse was gone? We took months. We didn't rush it. We really did our research, and we looked at everybody, and we had top candidates like Jordi Fernandez and Darko Rajakovic at the top of the list. And there's a reason why, because these dudes are bona fide, real badass coaches. And that's why everybody who's getting pissed at Darko for this or that, hold your tongue. In some ways, we need to see the payoff in the end. And y'all, this is the tough time. This is the time where we struggle. This is the time where he's working it out and getting more and more established as an NBA head coach. And y'all can't just throw all the progress we get from him building up, because you know what? We bring in the next guy. We start all fucking over. So let the head coach have his proper chance to rebuild this team correctly and get the Raptors back on the winning side of things. And don't get ahead of yourself and be, oh, he just sucks. We just need to get rid of him. You know who's saying that shit on Twitter is trolls from other teams that want to undermine our fan base believing in our. He's not no good. He's not going to be a good coach. In some ways, Sam Cassell is going to take his job. Watch. And I was trying to do that to be very toxic and not helpful to Celtics Nation. Well, think about, why do you not think that Sixers fan, Knicks fan, and other fans around the league are coming into our spaces and saying, fire Darko, fire Darko? And they're not even Raptors fans. And then dumbass Raptor fans see it, and they're like, oh, yeah, fire Darko. You dumbass sheep parroting some dumbass toxic shit that's probably coming from other fan nations. Take it from me. I did it to Coach Joe. So why wouldn't somebody from another fan nation come on social media where the Raptors fans are and start denigrating our coach? That's what I got to say to people like that. Realize the action. Realize what you're adding to Beyond when you come at our coach is what I'm saying right now. It's not healthy to switch your coach like your underwear. And that's why people like Vince Carter leave. And you want Ford to be on this team for a long time? He loves Darko. And that's why we ride connection. Man. That's why I'm not tolerating very much criticism about Coach Darko, because it's not helpful and it's part of the other side's plan to fuck us up. is what I'm saying right now. Yeah, yeah. Nako saying, does Dr. Alex McKechnie have a dunk yet? He should get one. We don't normally dunk players and personnel. We dunk Raptor freaks and Raptor freak family members and just other people. No, we don't have a Dr. Alex McKechnie. No, we've done a share the love for him. That's what he gets. He gets a Dr. Alex McKechnie Share the Love Club. That's how we honor Dr. Alex right there. And he has one. Go into my archive. You can look up Dr. Alex and you can see that we went off and shared the love on a Saturday for Dr. Alex McKechnie. And that was a couple years ago. That wasn't a recent one. That was one we did maybe 2 years ago because we wanted to make sure we shared the love for Dr. Alex. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy game day. Good morning to you, MJ. Holding it down in the Ottawa Capital Region. Our good friend, MJ, the eye candy. That's right. Eye candy, good morning. Isaac is here. He's got the dunking Vince Carter Raptor logo on blast. Vince is so happy with the logo. He's so honored to have a logo after him. He feels like he's Jerry West. Let's see. Stargate saying, apparently Julius Randle is a very, very good locker room guy. I heard he's a nice guy despite what we perceive of him on the court. You know, I've told you, he's been on an odyssey in his NBA career. You know, when he was younger, he was a little bit of a hothead. You know, he was on the Lakers, remember? And he was in a little bit of a weird situation there. And some of the teams he was on earlier, he wasn't totally that same person. He matured. And in New York was where it really happened. He really figured things out. And yes, he is a really top class guy. Right before they traded him, he was in the Bronx at a school doing some very special social thing to help this school. And it just shows the character of him. No, I'm a fan of him. I think that he's a very good locker room guy, and he's just grown as a person in his NBA career. Maybe when he showed up, he's a little bit of a knucklehead, but it's kind of like Kyle Lowry. You come in, you have certain things about you, they get ironed out, and then all of a sudden you're a badass. And that's, you know what? I have a lot of respect for Randall too. I know the Knicks fans love him. In fact, they look at Julius as symbolic of the Knicks turning around their franchise and him being a part of it. Him and Robinson Mitchell are like the two guys that they're like, these are the guys who came to our team and started helping us get it out of the mud. So in some ways, Knicks Nation will always love Julius Randle. Most of them, at least, most of them, not all of them. You know, they're crazy down there. Cowboys got Farmer Isaac. Let's go. Farmer Isaac holding it down in Ottawa, another capital region person for the Raptor Freak family, our benevolent Isaac Campbell. That is right. The Cool Cat is saying, I'm not trusting the NBA to do right by Raptors over the Kawhi issue. Well, that's fine. But in some ways, you know what? We don't need to worry about this. This has been water on the bridge. How many? 5 years now? In some ways, ever. We don't care. If they find them for 50,000 already, we'll see if they go further with this. But if they don't, who cares? It's not like a loss or anything. We've moved on from this, and we just go forward. And in some ways, I'm not going to take an L for something that never was something, or either way. So either way, I don't care what they do. They do something, that's fantastic. But if they don't, so what? Who cares? It's happened so long ago in some ways. Cowboys saying, I agree, Cat. Yeah, I'm not going to let them punk me. I don't care. You punish them for that, whatever. You punish Steve Ballmer, punish the Clippers, do whatever you're going to do, Adam Silver. If you don't, okay, that's what we expected to. We don't care. It's kind of how I feel about it right there. That's right. Isaac's saying he's calling a W tonight. Let's fucking go. Spray paint and Lex on blast. There you go, Isaac. I love it. That's awesome. Trevor's saying New York and Indiana tonight. Come on, Pascal, get that win. Yeah. And there's interesting refs for this game tonight. Tony, let's see. The referee is Bill Kennedy. Yes, our guy Bill Kennedy will be calling the game in Madison Square Garden for the Pacers and Knicks. OG versus Pascal. JB DeRosa is the middle ref, and John Butler is the third ref. We love Bill Kennedy. Bill Kennedy's one of the best refs. So that should be a very interesting game. Of course, the Pacers and the Knicks, historic rivalry with Reggie Miller and Spike Lee is always present in that particular matchup. Well, now it's Siakam and Anunoby is a very big part of that matchup too, the two former Raptors. Yeah, there you go. Kaz on the road with the Raptor logo on blast. Chris needs to start Oshai. Chris needs to start over Oshai. Interesting. Misha's saying that he wants Oshai out of the starting lineup. Well, if RJ shows up, neither one of them are going to start. And that's hopefully what's going to happen tonight. Because RJ Barrett starts at the 3. That makes the team have way better chance to try and win against the Sixers tonight. That's a big, big, huge one. So, RJ, get ready and come in and play tonight because I want to beat the Sixers tonight. I want to beat Nick Nurse, and you could be the part that helps it happen by showing up and suiting up and playing tonight. Yeah, I don't know about Chris starting over Oshai in the depth chart. In some ways, Chris is a very valuable bench piece. The way that they talked about it And even Scotty said it in his interview about Chris after the game. He said Chris Boucher is a great bench player. He's the first one off the bench, and he always does stuff. So in some ways, the atmosphere around the team looks at his role as very much not a starter. If it's already being said by people like Scotty, they don't look at him as being starter. But you know what? He does such important things off the bench. And in some ways, I don't agree with you, Mischief, because in some ways, Chris is a very specialty kind of unique player. And if you start him too often, teams will get a game plan for how to do something against us off the bat with him involved. In some ways, he's better off coming in as the first six man off the bench. So I won't agree with that, but I love you, base man. I hope you have a great weekend, man. That's right. Kaz is saying one more sub or 1,000. I'm at 999. Woo! Let's go. One more. It could be you. It could be you. If you are my the internet keeps going in and out a little bit. So if it's a little choppy, that's why. But it is coming back. We got to fix this. We got to fix this because the internet is really choppy right now. Really, really choppy. Let's see. Kaz has got the spray paint out. You guys got that spray paint out. That's nice. Cream saying base man. I like that. But Chris can't play perimeter defense. Chris is the spark plug on the bench. That's the perfect response. And part of what I would like to say too. That spark plug off the bench is very valuable. And that's a big part of it. There you go. Fiercey and Cowboy putting Darko on blast, just like I was earlier. That's right. We love you, Darko. I got your back, Rajakovic. And if the Wolves are circling, I'm getting in between them and you. And I'll get my carcass all ripped up before I let them get to you, Darko Rajakovic. That's how I feel about this. Seriously. It's a crazy analogy. It kind of makes you think of the old mascot matchup, huh? That Wolfpack ripped me up and let me in the ditch. ZZ Top style. They got me under pressure. Cowboy saying Masai picked the right one. That's what I'm saying. These guys are smart. Look at the way they draft. Why would they go through all that process and land on Darko if they weren't going to get the right one? Seriously. They're not fucking around and messing up. Seriously. Darko, you got to ride with him and allow him to do what he's supposed to do. In some ways, he's revolutionizing the Raptors from a non-passing isolationist team that Nick Nurse really focused on defense to a team that's more focused on offense and passing and including everyone. And that kind of change is not totally easy to institute correctly and successfully right away. So in some ways, you got to allow him to change the culture of the Raptors team and makeup. And last year was just the beginning. It was the wedgie year between the two eras with Siakam and Anunoby still on the team at this time a year ago. So in some ways, you guys got to let him have time to do this. People are so microwave culture and they're only looking at things right away, and it's bullshit. If you want to get anything good, substantial, or worthwhile in your life, you need to put time into it, invest time, and take time to develop it. And then you'll have something so much even better. But everybody wants things so quickly. It's just dumb. Y'all need to let things develop and let Darko have his time. And seriously, you're going to see progress, and y'all will be very happy if you listen to Lex, the Raptor Freaks, and trust in Masai and Bobby's decision to hire Darko as our coach. I'm going to say that right now. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying Becky Hammond, Jordy, Sergio Scariolo. That's right. These are some of the names that we interviewed for the process, and these are top-level people. Jordy is now the coach of the Nets. He got picked up right away, and he is the coach of Team Canada. And we saw what phenomenal stuff he did for Team Canada in the Olympics and stuff and things that we did last year at the World Cup. And Becky Hammond, two-time WNBA champion coach with the Las Vegas Aces, top of her field in the WNBA. These are top-level people. We even talked to JJ Redick, apparently. Andrew's saying, morning, folks. Game day today. Grady 30 bomb incoming. I like that prediction. What about that? Yeah, Grady, you get out there. Who are you going to be matching up with? Eric Gordon? Eric Gordon? You could probably get a height advantage on Eric Gordon. If you're playing Kelly Oubre, he's a more difficult defensive assignment. He could actually be guarding you more because I could see Nick saying, yeah, Oubre, you got to go guard Dick. Go guard the Dick. Yeah, I could see that. Let's see. Kareem Thomas saying, going to study Scotty's body language in his gameplay. I really want to see a huge bounce back in all aspects. As I say every game, Scotty will always be the best player on the court when he's locked in. Yeah. Then we got to watch his swagger. We got to watch his shoulders and whether they're slumping. whether he's like Pat from Saturday Night Live, if he's doing that kind of shit, problem. One of the things I noticed in the replay, watching some of the highlights from the Wednesday game, I think Jakob was sick, y'all. Seriously, he looked feverish. And I think that may have been part of the reason why he was off in the game on Wednesday, because he looked kind of weird, sweaty, like sick, sweaty. And he didn't look exactly like he was like with it as far as feeling well. Like, seriously, if you go back and watch those highlights, look at Jakob and the way he's moving and his body and his aura. I feel like on the down low, he was actually kind of sick, and he may even had a fever while he was out there. This stuff happens sometimes. Sometimes guys show up and they're not 100%, and they're still coming out there and trying to play for us. So I think that may have been the truth. Seriously, that Jakob was not 100% as far as he may have felt like he had the sniffles or something like that. Seriously. Let's see. Cowboys saying Santino. Okay, I hope he's doing well, bro. All right. Let's see. What else we saying here? Yes, sir. Kareem saying, honestly, I never knew Julius Randle to have any bad characteristics, but he just looks mean, resting bitch face. I think it was when he was younger, he was fiery. I think also, we got to understand maybe the toxicness of the Lakers was reflecting on him. Maybe he was put in situations that were ridiculous. And maybe, because he's a kind of no nonsense kind of guy, maybe that was what was reflecting off of him. And it wasn't even his fault. It was just Rob Pelinka and their stupid ass shit there. So it could be. Mischief saying, Kareem, if he plays better off the bench, then I don't mind. Yeah, I think Chris does play better off the bench. In some ways, I know he was the best player for us on the opening night, but in some ways, that was just because we had a really poor effort from the starters in certain ways. As far as they just didn't shoot very well. Meanwhile, Chris was bombing threes 4 for 5. That was a big deal. We need that spark plug. I think that is the most coolest thing that Chris does, especially when the pattern of the Raptors coming out in games that there's been in past years where they let the other team have like a double-digit lead in the first quarter. Well, often if we're not that peppy or having good energy, Chris is that emergency that you pull and say, all right, put Chris in. He's going to inject more of our hustle into our team, and hopefully he'll get the guys off their ass and start playing better. That's part of the whole action of what Boucher does for us. Is if we're lackadaisical at the beginning, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, Chris will get out there and hopefully infuse some of his energy. So that's part of why I like that setup with him off the bench. Fiercely saying, I believe the Clippers already had their punishment, constant losing. They've been just perennially in their punishment way past the years of Elgin Baylor, way past all the documented events on Clipped, the HBO series. Yeah, they've been in a hell for a long, long time. I mean, the Clippers were such a butt of a joke in the 80s and 90s, guys. You got to understand, like, they would be like laughed at for their picks because their picks would get hurt so quickly. And, they got people like Michael Olowokande, really crazy history to that franchise. And the team has been in the league for since the Leafs won the Stanley Cup, and they've never ever won a championship. The Clippers do not have a single damn Larry O'Brien. They have not got one ever. So, I mean, I think that I don't think they count the Buffalo Braves championship of way back with them. They might, but that's cheap. In some ways, I don't like it when like the Thunder have the Sonics championship banner up in their arena. That's stupid. That banner does not belong in Oklahoma City. And I would say when the Sonics come back, that banner needs to come back to Seattle. And, that it's dumb stuff like that. Because, like, in some ways, some of the Lakers banners belong in Minneapolis because they were George Mikan and the Minneapolis Lakers that won those banners. So even in their count of 17 championships, I think like 5 or 6 of them were actually won in the state of Minnesota. So, I don't like that kind of shit. So if the Clippers have some sort of championship up in their new arena from like Buffalo Braves or like San Diego Clippers, or San Diego Clippers never won. So it would have to be like Buffalo Braves way back, like Bob McAdoo kind of shit. I don't think that they ever won either, though. Like if they won like in the 50s or something like that. The Clippers. I don't think they did, though. I don't know if there's a root team that they came from that actually won a championship way back. I don't think there is. Let's see. All right, let's keep going. Kareem saying, I miss OG. It's very comforting knowing that you got a dude who's going to lock down the other team's best player. I know. I wish the OG-itis was still happening on our team. We have a more milder malady that we inflict on people called Oshii-itis. Oshii-itis is not as strong as OG-itis. We're talking about H1N1, bird flu, COVID, all that kind of shit. It's not on the scale like that. We could say OG's like Ebola, and maybe like I don't know, Oshii-itis is not as bad as like getting it, but it's still a malady. And hopefully over time, the strength of the Oshii-itis can be stronger and stronger over the years. And I mean, there's signs of it. There's signs that Oshii could be even more and more of a lockdown defender, but we're not seeing the exact kind of lockdown that OG-itis provides in that ailment. That's right. Yeah, I miss him too. I want to get this Oshii-itis more powerful, though. We got to see that. That's right. Mike's here. Good to see Logical Raptors fanatic. Project Truth always, Mike. We love you, man. After training camp with key missing pieces, it's hard just to get everything in sync. Give it a bit. We will be working on defense all year. Yeah, this is a big area when I want to see a drastic improvement from the first game is we've got to protect the paint and the rim way, way better than we did against Mobley and Allen. In some ways, as I said earlier, Andre Drummond is not the fastest guy, but he's a lot of heft. And he's a lot of weight, and he is a rebounding machine. And so in some ways, you know, Jakob would be good to shadow his minutes with Drummond. Darko, please, maybe you mirror them with each other, because when they come in with their next guy on their depth chart at center, it really is going to be like Bona, who's a rookie, who's not like that well seasoned. So Drummond's their backup center, and they don't really have another guy. I mean, they're going to play Yabusele at center a little bit, maybe, but after that, there's nobody there. So I would say put Pirtle in when Drummond's in there and let them battle it out physically with strength, because honestly, we won't need Jakob out there when Drummond's not out there, because we may be able to handle things with better that way. Fernando may be just about right, and along with Boucher and Scotty. So we'll have to see. Yeah. But yeah, defense is going to be a work in progress all year long. That's right. Carlos saying, morning, Lex, and everyone. Bounce back game today. I love to hear that. I'm all about it, Carlo. We can do what we did, Scott, in the preseason when you played the Celtics and lost to their B team, and then you turned around, bounced back, and beat the Celtics by 1 point in Scotiabank Arena, only preseason game this year. Ooh, that's right, Scott. You got some get back to get. Come on, James Brown. Yeah, you don't know karate, but you know crazy. Get out there and show it to them tonight. Take it to Tyrese Maxey. He didn't want to hug you, bro. You should be like telling yourself, just making up shit in your mind. Man, Tyrese, he was going to reject me for a hug on national television in front of everybody. Ooh, I got to get Tyrese tonight. I got to beat his ass for rejecting my hug. No, you're not going to hug me. I'm going to hug you. No, you're not going to hug me. I'm going to hug you. I'm hugging you. I'm hugging you. I'm hugging you. You know, that may be funny. You know, Michael Jordan and makeup shit. That motherfucker talked about my grandma. I'm going to come out there and give him 40. Oh, you know, that's what I'm talking about, Scott. Make some shit up in your head and say Tyrese Maxey wouldn't hug me, and go out there and drop 40 on him. That's so funny, man. It's so funny. Let's see. Mike saying fire Darko and hire who? Laugh out loud. Some fans don't really understand the business of the league clearly. I mean, I think that these dumbasses are so egotistical. They think they do a better job than him. Seriously. I think that that's part of it. I mean, seriously, this is the same thing I say about our front office. What are the alternatives here, guys? Everybody who hates Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, well, you don't got no fucking championship without Masai Ujiri. I'll say that right now. Seriously. And you need to value these dudes. And thank God that they are company men that love Toronto, that Masai is such a real one for us. And I ain't stabbing him in the back like he stabbed DeMar in the back. No, because I understand that he comes with excellence, and he comes with one of the best acumens in GMing in the NBA. And I value that. And in some ways, you know, people are so like short-sighted and idiots. I think it really is, Mike, where they think that they could do a better job because they figured it out in their own heads. Well, once again, I'll tell casual fans that think that Masai Ujiri ain't good at his job. They live on the moon, and you live on Earth. And you have no idea what it's like to live on the moon, where the gravity is different, the air is different, and you have to do things a lot different in the job than you know. You do not understand what it's like to live on the moon, because being an NBA GM is not what you think it is. It's not going on ESPN and changing your fantasy team, motherfucker. You think you could be GM in the NBA just because you run a fantasy team, you dumbasses? No, you can't. You do not live on the moon. So you do not understand what it all entails, especially running the only Canadian team in an American league called the NBA. So I would caution any NBA Raptors fans out there that think that they could do a better damn job than Ujiri or Darko. Y'all don't live on the moon and you do not understand everything that goes into this. Even people that are coaches that think Darko's not a good coach. Well, he's not a good coach because he does this. He obviously should have just done this. You still do not understand all of the politics, all of the business side, all of the everything, the diplomacy that a head coach in the NBA has to deal, let alone the regular coaching nuts and bolts of managing the team and working with the players. There's so much more than you know. In some ways, a coach and the head coach of the NBA has to be a little bit of a politician, and they have to understand the business side and the other things that are going on with everything, along with the basketball nuts and bolts. So there you go. I will step in front of anybody who's coming after my coach or my front office. And that's you, Beyond. You're going to talk shit about them. I will tell you why you shouldn't, just like I just did. That's right. That's right. That's right. They don't understand the business. They run a little Yahoo fantasy team like our league. And they think, oh, I'm so smart. Look at me. I've won every week in my fantasy league. I can run the Raptors. I play 2K and I have such good GM skills on 2K. I could run the Raptors better than Masai. You fucking idiots. Man, I'm hyped. I'm hyped. It's because Nick Nurse is in town. That's right, motherfucker. Let's go. Fiercey saying, if Darko was to leave the organization, he'd be hired elsewhere in a blink of an eye. We see you haters downplaying us, but deep down vying for our staff. Now, I don't think that's why they're doing it, because Darko isn't proven, and that's not for sure. I mean, that was for sure with Nick, obviously, and we saw what happened there. But with Darko, it's not for sure yet, because he needs to be totally proven in the NBA. And we got to let him get there, guys. We got to let him get there, fans. There's no reason to develop our coach and get him up there to give up on him right before he's going to have a breakthrough. That's the saddest shit. You know, impatient teams like the Knicks, who changed their team too quick, like they did this summer, don't let things set in and just kind of go, hey, let's go with this. They get too impatient. And that's the problem. Don't be impatient, fans. Allow Darko the time to do exactly what he's going to do, and he will be just as great as Nick Nurse in the end. Watch. Seriously. He will. Mischief saying, congratulations. You hit 1,000 subscriptions. Whoa, party time, y'all. Woo! Let's go. 1,000. It took 3 years, but I did it, y'all. Yay! Wow! Woo, 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 woo. Seriously, y'all. The people that have been here with me on this climb, I started this channel with 3 subscribers. 3 subscribers. And I never, ever hardly promoted this channel. You guys have all come here organically, usually from searching for the Toronto Raptors on a YouTube tab and me coming up and say, hey, what's this Raptors freak bullshit? What is this? And just clicking on it. Y'all have stuck around. 1,000 of y'all have stuck around. It means so much to me in my heart, man. This is a big, big deal to me because this is something that I've had a goal to do for a long, long time. It used to be that you'd have to wait to get 1,000 to get monetized, but they changed it to 500 at some point. So I really, really do appreciate every single one of you. And whoever was the 1,000th subscription, thank you. Thank you from the deepest bottom of my heart. You have helped me complete one of my goals that I've had on this channel. I'm getting a little choked up because seriously, this is a big deal to me, man. It's a really big deal. Alley-oop to Eye Candy. 1,000, baby. We guys, it's all of us. I couldn't have done it with every single one of y'all. I needed all of y'all to do it. That's right. Carlos saying, yeah, looking at Raptor Spaces, they have a hard on a Darko. Yeah, I want to be the counterbalance. In some ways, I want to give you guys talking points so that when you are engaging with people that are anti-Darko or talking trash about our coach, you have good points to come at them in different ways. Because listen, it's not helpful. It's only destructive when you guys keep saying we need to get rid of people. Seriously, it's not helpful. Y'all aren't going to make those decisions. Bobby and Masai will make those decisions. And sadly, if they have to make these decisions, they'll make them when they do. But people that want to fire the coach already, you're idiots. You're absolute idiots, and you do not understand what it takes and everything to coach an NBA team is what I'll say. That's what I'm going to say right there. Yeah, Cowboy saying Chef Darko going to cook tonight. That's right. Cook some fried croakers up for Tony Brothers and the ref crew tonight. That's right. Get them fried croakers all croaked up and dead. On the grill. We'll get them fried croakers out there. That's right. Fiercely saying, you're right, Lex. Jakob wasn't groomed and looked really pale and sick. He did. He didn't look right. He didn't look right. I think that Jakob was on the down low sick and feverish because he was a step wrong and he was off. He was off. And that could very well be a very good reasoning for why Jakob Poeltl was not looking his normal self. Carlos saying, Lex, it has been reported Bruno is still on the non-guaranteed deal. What do you guys think about that? Well, it doesn't matter because what's going to happen, Carlo, is that Bruno, all right, I guess maybe there is still a tryout window for him where he's got to absolutely bust his ass. And it could be that he could be waived and they do bring in a replacement player. Y'all keep naming Kem Burge as somebody that they should call and say, hey, come back to Canada and play for us because you're healthy again. That may be right. Maybe Bobby and Masai, we know they're flexible GMs and they like to have all their options open in different ways. So it could be that they are still speculating. I know this, that Bruno's contract becomes guaranteed on Halloween. So he's got a week basically. If he plays these next couple games and he's still on the team, his money's guaranteed by Halloween. So that's the difference right there. He may be still a little shaky right now because they could switch him in and out with somebody else right now. So he's still in some ways in a training camp battle in some ways to still make the team. So that's what I would look at it from this perspective. And maybe Bobby Masai are like, yeah, you're not done yet. You need to absolutely prove you can be on this team. And I think in the last game he did a good job. But we'll see. It could very well be maybe there's another option. Although I don't want them to sell him out. He's very popular on the team, and the other players are kind of attached to him. And you don't want to jerk. This is the other thing I want to tell everybody. You guys think that once again, this is a symptom of ESPN fantasy and playing 2K that you can jerk guys in and out of teams unemotionally, where you don't really think about the human impact. And it's for y'all to say we should just cut Bruno and add Kem Burge. There's a human factor to this, and there's a certain level of bonding and connecting that he's done with our team already that you may be hurtful and it may be destructive in some ways and toxic because it sends the wrong message. It's like you're all disposable and we don't value any of you in certain ways. That's one thing that I want to caution about the easy to cast people aside people that are in Raptors Nation. That there's a human side that y'all very conveniently overlook sometimes. And in some ways that Bruno's gotten to this point, I think he's pretty good. Even if it's not officially guaranteed right now, well, the deadline's going to pass and it'll be guaranteed when that happens. That's what'll happen. Yeah. Kareem saying Julius on the Lakers, then New York. Shit, man. Now he's got a chance to relax and just play ball. I'm a Randall fan. Actually, I'm a fan of all lefties. He was on New Orleans too in the middle there. It was the Lakers, and he got traded for Anthony Davis, didn't he? And he was on the Pelicans, and then he went to I don't even know he went directly to New York after that. He was on a couple teams in between the Lakers and the Knicks. I'm pretty sure. I don't even remember exactly. So, yeah, Randall has been around. He's been on a couple different teams in different places. Trevor's saying the NBA okay, yeah, you wrote no like it's KNOW. Okay. The NBA knows we have a top-notch coach. They are going to troll, so we can't let him go because they know we have that FIBA-style basketball, what every team needs. I mean, he's a good coach. It's just that, a lot of people don't like that we're losing, and they just automatically blame the coach when not looking at the parameters and the cycle of where our franchise is in ups and downs as a team. And in some ways, it's a very natural place for us to be at the bottom and in the bottoming out of the cycle finally at this point. We rose up, got a championship in 2019, and we come back down and around. It's like that ride at the fair that goes, swings around like this. You're going to swing around. You're going to get up there and get that championship, come back down around, and then come building back up, get it again. The Nuggets are on their way down, coming around like this. The Celtics came up and got theirs. You got to think about how long it took the Celtics to swing from Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen all the way down and really bad years, come back up with Tatum and Brown. It's all teams are on cycles. And the Raptors fans just need to be aware of where we are in the cycle and how we have to do things and be more educated in your opinions is what I would say on those kind of things. Yeah. Yeah, that's right there. Kareem saying, if Yak has the flu, I expect nothing less than 50 points, flu game. You think because he's MJ kind of thing? I don't know if it's totally the same thing for a guy like him. You don't want a big flu-ridden Yak around. It's probably farts a lot. It's gross. Yeah. Andrew saying, I swear, Yak's passes were so off last game. It looked like he was either playing drunk or playing off 3 hours of sleep. That, we don't know. In some ways, they didn't talk about any of this. But I've looked at the footage and I'm like, man, he doesn't look well. Like he looked like he was not. He didn't look right. Seriously, you guys go look at the footage from the game the other day and look at him from that aspect. And you'd be like, holy shit, Lex is right. The dude looks like sweaty and like he hasn't slept. Like Andrew's saying, Kareem saying, do the Clippers have any retired jerseys in their new arena? I don't know. Google that shit. Maybe Mike can tell us this. I don't know. If somebody wants to go look at this, this is something that maybe Tommy would have taken care of if he was still around. But yeah, I have no idea. I can't think of that. Maybe they have McAdoo up there. I don't know. I don't know who they would have retired in their career of things. I think they do have retired jerseys. I do. I'm pretty sure they do. Elgin Baylor should be retired in their jerseys, even though he didn't play for them. He did play for them though. I don't know. In some ways, I'm not up on Clippers history. Andrew's saying I think the Clippers are the only team without any jerseys retired. I don't know if that's true. We are still. We are one of the teams that do not have a jersey retired until November the 2nd. So we are officially one of those teams. I don't know. I don't know. The newer teams may not have jerseys retired. Do the Pelicans have any jerseys retired? Do the Hornets have any jerseys? Oh, yeah, they do. They have like Mourning and Del Curry and Muggsy. You know, I don't know. There's a spreadsheet. Y'all can go fucking look at this shit. Come on, Google. Go Google, guys. All right. You can Google now. We're not doing trivia. Kareem's saying we should do a classic card. I don't think Smooth is here. All right, we can do that. All right, let's see. 10:31 is the time on the chat. So I'll come back. Let me get the card box. All right, let's see. I'm just picking the first one. I'm not putting it back. I'm just grabbing what I get. Oh, wow. This is a hard one. All right, guys. The classic card of the day. First person to write the full name answer. Don't half-ass it. Don't half-ass it. It's like Obama said. Let me just talk about this for a sec. Obama was on The Young Man and the Three, which is JJ Redick's podcast with him coaching. He can't. And Obama got on there. Woo! Obama's a real one. Oh, my gosh. Did y'all hear what Obama said? Obama said, y'all need to stop half-assing the All-Star game. He said half-assing. He literally said the words half-assing. Yeah, I don't want to watch that shit because y'all are just going out there and what the fuck are y'all doing? It's basically what Obama's saying to Tyrese. He's like, y'all need to take this more seriously. It's an important game and it's their product. I don't understand why you wouldn't take this more seriously. You're selling your product to the fans. And I'll tell you right now, if you guys don't start playing more full ass, I'm going to not watch the All-Star game. This is President Obama talking to Tyrese Halliburton on that podcast. Ooh, he was so right. And he went off on him. And I was like, damn, tell him, Obama. You are everybody who's an NBA fan right now. And listen, Obama's going to say this shit. They better listen to him. They even revealed, Tyrese Halliburton said that they had Larry Bird come into the locker room of the All-Star team last year before the All-Star game, and he told them that they were fucking this up and that they were like, you guys need to take this more seriously like we used to. What the hell are y'all doing with the All-Star game? This is a travesty. And Larry Bird couldn't even get them to motivate to come out and make a better game. It's so awesome. Y'all need to watch that interview with Obama. He goes off on them. He's like, you guys are half-assing. And I was like, yes, half-ass. We're talking to half-asses. Don't half-ass this classic card. Put in the full name. Here we go. Here's the classic card of the day. Who is that, man? This is a hard one. So you're going to get like 200 points for this one. If you get this one, I'll be very impressed. This is not a normal, well-known player. In some ways, this guy is like, man, if somebody gets this, somebody go, wow, Andrew got it. Eric Paschal is the answer. Golden State Warriors. Boom. Mike was right after him, but he's a little bit too far behind. Andrew, you're getting the 200 points for the classic card of the day. Eric Paschal. Good job, man. No half-assing there. There you go. You made President Obama happy right there. Let's see. Is David here? No, David is not here today. So we will go ahead and put in Eric Paschal. And it's Andrew getting the numbers today. And we're going to give you 200 points for a tough classic card. There you go. Good job. Rookie of the year, Andrew, getting in there right before Mike. Mike was right after it. Yeah, fake Pascal. That's fake Pascal. That's who you call him, fake Pascal. That's funny. All right, let me get back to the chat spot where I was at. 10:31. No. Kareem was talking about doing the classic card. Andrew's saying Scotty is best when he doesn't give a fuck. He just gets in the flow state. Yeah, in some ways, we need to free things up for him with the passing lanes, the lanes for him to drive. In some ways, he needs to be very analytical and quick, trust his instincts, and go after it and get out there. This is a weird thing that happened yesterday in the practice interview. People were wanting to go over the turnovers that Jamal Shed had. And I was like, why are you doing this? He's like, yeah, away from me on that one. I wish I could have had it back. When I tried to throw it to Grady and he was doing a backdoor cut, and the ball just slipped off my hand and it lofted up and went over his head. You remember that turnover by Jamal. And then the same person was like, well, let's go over the other turnover. Do you remember? And he's like, no, I don't remember the other turnover. You go ahead and tell me what it is. I think it was Michael Grange and his bullshit. I think Michael Grange yesterday, I was like, man, fucking whatever's wrong with your mouth, bro. Why can't you spit out your questions? Like you're gargling, like I said, you got Ed Rogers' dick in your mouth, Michael Grange. Spit it out before you ask questions to Grady Dick and Jamal Shed, because he came in. The first question he asked Grady Dick was like all over the place. He's like mumbling, and it didn't make any fucking sense. It's almost like he's trying to confuse Grady on purpose. He's like, well, when you were in the game, and then he's like switches gears, and then he's like, oh, and he's like, he's not even like concentrating. Michael Grange, you appear on television, right? You have to stand on TV with a microphone and talk sometimes. Why can't you have a more better delivery when you're asking the questions to the players? Because you sound like you have, first of all, you need fisherman's friend, or you got a dick in your mouth. And then second, your questions are meandering and all over the place, and you're not concentrating. I feel like you're getting called to ask the question, and you're looking at your papers and you're not ready, and you're like, oh, get fucking prepared. Do your job better, Michael Grange, and be more clear and concise with your questions instead of gargling over your words and sound like you got Ed Rogers III's dick in your mouth. Seriously, I'm sick of this shit. You did this in both interviews yesterday with Grady Dick and Jamal Shed, and you still continue to nag people like Darko and Scotty with negative questions and stupid shit. Yeah, Michael Grange, 2-finger salute for you. That's a normal action on this channel. Seriously, a 2-finger salute for Michael Grange. I just felt like I needed to say that right there. Yeah. Cowboys send 1 cent, 55 cent, 10 cent, dollar bill, y'all. Trevor's saying Clippers, Orlando Magic, and a few others who never won a championship, but the Raptors defeat the odds of a younger team in the league to win a chip. There are 6 or 7 or 8 teams that have never won an NBA championship. And that is very interesting. Yeah, there's quite a few teams. Phoenix Suns have never won a championship either. That's right. The Nets have never won a championship. Kareem Thomas is laughing at Cowboy. That's the tune. Stargate saying the Clippers thought that them drafting Sean Livingston was going to be the turnaround, but then he had that horrific injury, and the team just went down again for years until Lob City days. Yeah, that's more recent. I mean, I go way back with thinking about the Clippers being so bad and such a joke in the league. I go back to the days of Charles Smith, Gary Grant, Benoit Benjamin, Ken Norman, Danny Manning. Yeah, I go way back to those days of when things were real bad in the Clippers and just no chance on doing nothing right there. Yeah. Reference. You don't know karate, but I know crazy. Martin show was epic. That's a James Brown reference. Martin Lawrence took that from James Brown, The Big Payback. The Big Payback. That's the fact. Yeah, James Brown, that's his line. He said, I don't know karate, but I know crazy. Yes, he does. So Shanae from Martin's show was definitely getting that from James Brown. And that great song, The Big Payback. That's one of my favorite songs by James Brown. Ooh. Ooh, that's a fact. The Big Payback. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And in some ways, that's an apropos song for this channel with Nick Nurse being in town today. Yeah, we need to get payback on him right now, seriously, for fucking around with our team and being toxic the last year. He was the coach of the Toronto Raptors. That's right. That's right. Boom, boom goes the dynamite. Fiercely saying, I got to go, fam. Let's go tonight. Yeah, she's probably got a meeting. Get in that meeting, TGIF, Fiercely, and be ready for the game tonight. That's right. Randolph saying, blessings, beloved Raptor freaks. Most informative gang on this game day. Every experience, no matter how bad it seems, holds within it a blessing. The goal is to find it. I love that. You know, if it's a lesson, it's a blessing. Even if it's a negative thing, seriously. Everything we go through teaches you. Whether you get a feeling of goodness and reward, whether you get some sting from it and hurt. In some ways, you got to take it, the lesson, as a blessing and go carry forward with your new knowledge. And hopefully you don't make any of the same mistakes. There you go. I appreciate your words of wisdom, Randolph Phillips. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freaks families. And here we go. We got Leo Routens, the kid from Kiel. His life tips today. Leo's life tips are 7 things you might need to hear today. Here we go. Number 1, bad days don't last forever, like Wednesday, y'all. Seriously, that's just one day. 30-point loss on the opening of our 30th anniversary season. It's just one day. They don't last forever. Number 2, you deserve to be happy, Raptors fans, because we are going to beat the Sixers tonight, and we're going to be happy about that. That's right. Number 3, it's okay to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress. Hey, c'est la vie. That is the way life is. You are your own unique person, and in some ways, you are uniquely, individually yourself, and a masterpiece of your own, one of one. But also, we are all infallible. No, we are fallible, and we need to be a work in progress at all times at the same time. Number 4, don't let anyone dim your light. Let it shine. That's why I show up every day, Leo. Nobody gonna dim my light. People gonna say, "What this clown doing on this channel? Why does he do this?" Well, because I want to let my light shine, Leo. That's what I'm saying right there. Number 5 is saying it's okay to ask for help. Yeah, don't be too prideful. If you're in a bad situation and somebody can help you, just go ahead and ask them. It will maybe make a big, huge difference and a game changer. That's what I'm saying. Number 6, you're doing your best, and that's enough. There you go. There you go. Do your best. Try, show up, do what you do. Nab Bhatia is saying, show up as a super fan, show up every game in the 30 years as much as you can. It's important to show up, do your best, and that'll be enough. And number 7, resting is not quitting. Self-care is power. That's right. This is very true. In some ways, know yourself and know your limits and know how to self-care yourself so that you can be your best self all around. Like Leo's life tips. Thank you, Leo Routens. We love you. The man who taught Canada basketball. In a lot of ways, that's the dude. Leo Routens, Jack Armstrong, and Paul Jones, people like that are the people that taught this nation the ins and outs of X's and O's on the basketball court. And we appreciate you, Leo, every single day. Thank you for your life tips. That's right. Andrew's saying Masai should get a statue for the Jalen McDaniels trade alone. Laugh my ass off. Listen, I mean, seriously, they're talking so loosely about giving out statues. Masai Ujiri is somebody who probably does deserve a statue. You know, in some ways, you know, there's been different people that brought success and championships to Toronto, people like Cito Gaston, and, you know, they've gotten a lot of acclaim for these kind of things. So I'm just saying, Masai Ujiri, his place in the Toronto Sports Hall of Fame is very prominent. I'm going to tell you that right now. He did some amazing things, and he still does to this day, and he will continue to. That's right. Cowboy Sam, me too later, family. Let's go Raptors. All right, Cowboy, you have a good day, ta-da. Get out there, be safe at your work site, and have a great TGIF. Trevor's saying Charles Barkley said the Clippers get crazy and gave away SGA. Where's the untruth of that? That sounds true to me. Alley-oop to Andrew. Andrew has got the GOAT. Okay. All right. Kareem saying ESPN should have never created a trade machine. Casuals always proposing trades and get mad because it never gets done. Yeah, I know. They're like little babies. They're like, I want that toy, mommy. No, you can't have that toy. We don't have the money, and we need to go and pay for your food. But I want that toy, mommy. No, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. Yeah. All these people who think they're helping the team by figuring out all the issues and problems. Once again, y'all don't live on the moon. You don't know what it's like to breathe on the moon or have to do the things you do on the moon. So your takes and what you think the Raptors should do are uneducated and usually really off base and unrealistic, because you do not understand the terrain of the moon as far as the NBA terrain, the way that the GMs are. You got to understand the GMs are all their own personalities. Sam Presti is different to deal with than Leon Rose. And in some ways, you guys, you're just putting stuff in a computer and it's going to do, it's either red or green, whether I can do it or not. The money lines up. The money is one thing. The personality is another. The strategicness of it and teams willing to do stuff. It's very cutthroat. It's very, very tough business. And you guys just don't have a realistic grasp about those jobs, whether it's the coach's job or the front office's job. I'm going to say that over and over again. Let's go. 1,000. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, Andrew. And you are one of those 1,000. That's right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And I agree. They should have never made that thing, but they did. They did. TNT inside the NBA, Barkley once again doesn't know where Garrett Temple plays. I think they asked him about where he plays for almost 8 years straight and never gets it right. It was a funny segment. Yeah, that's fine. Charles is funny when they make him pronounce names and ask him where he thinks players are. You should have known this, Charles. Didn't they ask you where Garrett was last year and they said Raptors? You could have just said Raptors again, but I guess he's just not retaining information. It could be too many bar fights. It could be too many beers, and they killed the brain cells in Charles Barkley. I don't know. Either way, he's entertaining, and I love watching him. That's right. Andrew saying, you deserve it, Lex. You kept us sane all offseason. I appreciate that, Andrew. Listen, man, it's a long offseason for a Raptor fan, especially when you had the early exit. And, I just want to hold the fort down. so that we have something fun to do all year long. That's right. Randolph saying, Lex, what did all these negative people who are so down on our team, first game and first loss, do with such venom before social media's event going forward? I don't know. In some ways, they were just miserable in their lives. Maybe they were like assholes. Maybe they were abusive and they were beating people up. Maybe they were just drinking their faces off in a depressed misery by themselves. I don't know. There's all kinds of different places. They be coupling these actions of being on social media and drunk in the middle of the night, sad about the Raptors losing on opening night, and they're in their feelings, and they're also like half in the bag. And that's part of the reason why they're so out of pocket and crazy and over emotional, is because they don't have a grasp on their own emotions and centering themselves, because they're bipolar, maybe because they're addicted to drugs and alcohol, and they're getting super high and crazy, and they don't have control of their own lives or their emotions. And in some ways that it is. A lot of it's immaturity. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I would get overly emotional about the Raptors wins and losses when I was younger and when I was an alcoholic active. As far as drinking like crazy after they lost, I mean, you can ask my ex-wife in the Chris Bosh era, when I would watch a Raptors game lose and Anthony Parker and Jose Calderon and that group lost games, I was hitting that Budweiser hard afterwards, and I was not pleasant to be around. So I don't know. And that wasn't really me venting on social media or anything. Maybe I was venting in the house, and, maybe that's why my ex-wife left me. So, that is part of probably why she did leave me, is me getting drunk and being upset when the Raptors would lose. Yeah, yeah, seriously, that's totally true right there. Yeah, Blackhawk. Look at that. Look, I've never seen that. That guy looks like Mr. Peanut with a little mustache or something. That's pretty interesting. I like that. 1,000. Woohoo! That's right. Y'all been with me for this time. You know just how big this is. Cool Cat's been with this ride for a long, long time on this channel, and seeing us finally get to that 1,000 pinnacle is fantastic. Honestly, man, I'm getting choked up about this, seriously, because it is something that I didn't know when it was going to happen. Well, it finally did. I was hoping it to happen before opening night, but just a couple days after is fantastic. Brian's here. Good to see King. What's up, Freak Nation? Dap, let's get that dub tonight. Might be at the game. Yeah, you're right, Lex. Like you and I said, Raps fans should not be bipolar. Yeah, in some ways, just get a grip on your lives. Seriously. Sometimes the way people talk about the team is more of a reflection of their own lives and how they feel about themselves. And it's not really actually, them. They live and die through the team. And in some ways, they feel like they get allowances to be all right to do it because this is the way sports fandom is supposed to be. That's bullshit. You're a toxic person and you need to get help, is what I'm saying. Get better help. You can get it online. Get to talk to somebody and work some of this shit out instead of going on Spaces or social media and just being regurgitating diarrhea out your mouth and your stupid ass misery and sadness. Seriously, that's a lot of it, is that these people are just miserable fucks in their own lives. And in some ways, they're, being able to be criticizing of whatever it is in publicity, as far as like Hollywood stars, your favorite sports team, politics. There's all kinds of different places where people want to be outspoken and feel like they have some sort of power in their opinion. And that's part of it right there too. Yeah, let's see. Trevor's saying Lex, good GM 2K. Good. All right, we'll see. We'll get there at some point. I'm sure I'll continue, hopefully, to grow, and we'll see where we're at over the years. Who knows? There could be a huge bump at some point. I don't know. I'm not trying to be mainstream. It's really a niche audience. You have to be a person that really loves the Raptors to watch my channel. And other people like watching it from other fan nations too, because they just like my passion and they do value my NBA knowledge and talking about the game too. So other fans of other teams that follow me also respect and thank you for giving me the subs and showing up. Tatum's hooping, Random Gamer, and Starscream and other great other fans of other teams that do value my channel. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are part of the 1,000 too, along with the Raptor Freaks. That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Mike's saying if Twitter Spaces ran the team, we would be like the Pistons. Yeah, no, these people, none of these people need to be around anywhere in management. No, they don't. No, they don't. They're so schizophrenic. They're so quick to do shit too quickly. Like they just want to change things so fast. Any sign of any kind of this. The thing is, you build value in keeping things around and building up them. Like an Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. Some people may have tossed them aside early in their careers, but we really put the time investment into building and developing these guys to get to the point where they were who they were and when they left last year. So in some ways, it's like y'all need to understand it takes time to do things correctly. And y'all won't get anything done if you're going to dispose of things so quickly. This isn't Tinder. This isn't Bumble where you're just like, oh, flip this, flip this, flip this. Everything's disposable. No, you make investments in people over time in the NBA, and you get huge results over time. You get established things like Greg Popovich in the Spurs. You get established things like Eric Spoelstra in the Miami Heat. And that's why I'm saying to y'all, we need to allow things to try and establish. And over the time, at some point you may be saying, damn, I was really rough on Darko early in his career, but I'm so glad nobody listened to my dumb ass because he is so good at this point, and I was completely wrong. That's the shit that's going to be said in like 2 or 3 years from now when Darko busts it open and we're winning way more than we're losing. So, yeah, some people are saying Darko will be great for now, only while we're developing and we're rebuilding. But when we get closer to the chip, it's going to be like Casey and Nurse. We're going to have to flip him out and put another guy in. That's actually not true, because I believe Darko can be that kind of coach for both aspects and modes for our franchise, whether it's building up and developing and getting our team better and better. Well, as we go, he has a long-term goal. And honestly, the things that limited Casey and made it so we couldn't get further in the playoffs, well, that's not in Darko, at least not evident in him right now. So we'll have to see over time. We'll have to see. That's right. Blackhawks saying there's levels to basketball. If can't cut it, not personal. He needs to be cut and find himself on a G League team to get better. Yeah, but he's not a G League player. He's an established NBA player for a few years. I get what you're saying, but once again, you can do more damage to vibes and feelings around the team. Like, seriously, we just had a blowout loss, but the guys are like picking themselves up and saying, we're together, we're united. In some ways, I value keeping the team united and happy together than just cutting Bruno because you guys are like, we're cutthroat. We got to be able to just cut people. No, bullshit. You saw how much love was outpouring from the Raptors on social media this week on Instagram over Bruno Fernando making the team. You don't do shit like this, Neil, just like willy-nilly, and you just talk about, oh, this guy's disposable like that. No, if he's a part of the group and they value him and they want him on that team, you don't want to piss off the players that are on the team. And plus, once again, I'll say this. These guys don't want to be playing where they feel like there's a target on their back because everybody's just disposable. And in some ways, Bruno Fernando is not disposable. We need all hands on deck up front, as evidence from the first game of the season. So Kaz got me on blast. Andrew's saying the Pelicans have Maravich retired. Yeah, that makes sense because his New Orleans Jazz and the city, New Orleans, he was a big, huge legend there. So that totally makes sense that Pistol Pete is retired in New Orleans. I looked it up. The Clippers and Raptors are the only teams without any jerseys retired. Interesting. Now, they put a little symbol on the Clippers floor for Jerry West this year, and this is a little bit of a controversy. The Clippers are starting to honor Jerry West in all kinds of different ways for his contributions to their front office in more recent years before he died. And the Lakers nation doesn't do jack shit to honor him. In fact, in some ways, they fucking dishonored him and cast him aside. And there's a little bit of a beef between Clippers and Lakers nation about this. Lakers nation saying, why are you doing this? He'll be a Laker for forever. Well, y'all have disrespected him. And in some ways, he's not Laker nation with y'all anymore, even if he should be. It's a very interesting phenomenon how they're dealing with Jerry West. But there's going to be a thing on the floor at the new arena this season on the sideline that honors Jerry West in the Clippers' new arena. Yeah, very interesting. I'm glad the Clippers are not in the same arena as the Lakers anymore. That's a big deal. That's a game changer for them. And in some ways, their arena is way nicer than the crypto arena. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Cool Cat saying President Obama is a b-ball fan, so they better listen to his feedback. Yeah. Yeah, he was a badass, man. Barack is so cool, man. Like, honestly, he's the coolest president in the whole entire history of the U.S. You know, Bill Clinton was a pretty cool president for a long time, but Barack is the coolest. He's just the coolest. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. G saying Clippers can retire Kawhi. You retire his jersey? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. That's pretty funny, man. Kareem saying, who the hell is that? I know that's what I was saying too. Eric Paschal. Eric Paschal. I don't know how they knew that, man. I don't know how they knew that. Why is that back green if it's Golden State? That's so weird. That's so weird. Andrew saying, I thought he was going to be nice after his rookie year. Yeah, he's just gone. Eric Pascal. Oh, they call him Pascal. I actually like Pascal because it's like a Chal, Pascal, but he's at Eric Pascal. Okay, so he is fake Pascal. That's why he's fake Pascal. That's how it's pronounced, Eric Pascal. Yeah, it can only be one Pascal in the NBA, obviously. Yeah, Cass saying Grange the clown. Yeah, dude, seriously, get a fisherman's friend. Maybe you should be in the ads for fisherman's friend. I see Eric Smith doing a fisherman friend advertisement on Instagram. Well, Nick Nurse need the fisherman's friend. Matt Devlin, he's your friend. You're fisherman. Your fisherman sounding ass motherfucker. Two finger salute. Yeah, Grange's every question is garbage. There's the other person that's in the media scrum recently is Chelsea Light. She's somebody that Raptors Moments has a beef with. She tried to get him in trouble or something. Well, she's asking really dumb questions at times, like questions that make you realize she's not really a basketball person because she's asking shit that, like, she asked a question to Grady yesterday, and I'm like, Grady was very graceful and nice about it. He answered the question, but it's really a dumb question. It's like, this is just how the NBA works, honey. Sorry. Yeah, this is just how it works. But Grady answered it correctly for her. But I was like, yeah, that's not a necessary question. That's kind of like common knowledge about the NBA. Like, this is what the coach does. Like, seriously, it's weird. We can get Oren Weisfeld, Samson Folk, top notch, crazy X's and O's questions in there sometimes. And then we can get the kind of negging, kind of weird ass questions from people like Michael Grange and Steve Simmons, or who's the motherfucker from the Sun? I think it is Steve Simmons or something like that. But yeah, and Doug Smith too. But then, it's weird. There's such a weird group. And in some ways, I like critiquing them and talking shit about them. A lot of them are very good. William Liu is awesome in there, obviously. And so is Samson Folk and Oren. Those guys are my three favorites as far as asking questions. Eric Kareem can be back and forth. Sometimes he's good. Sometimes he's a little schwarmy. And then Lewinberg's almost always pretty good. Aaron Rose asks some of the dumbest questions. He's the really teeny bopper, dumbass questions. So some of the younger interviewers there are not asking good questions. And Chelsea is an add-on this year. Some of the questions she's asking are really stupid, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. Seriously, yeah. Kaz is saying the Grange, all his questions have negative tone. Yeah, well, he's trying to be a doom and gloom guy. Think about the way he writes his articles for Sportsnet. Often they're very kind of portraying things as being doomsday for the Raptors. Oh, the Raptors have one of the worst schedules of the season. And then he'll write a whole article about why Raptors fans should be worried about the future of the Raptors. Ooh, I mean, this Fox News kind of shit, it's fear mongering. In some ways, he gets attention and clicks by appealing to our fears. And in some ways, that's the MO of some of the people that cover the Raptors, some of the print people and people like Michael Grange. I like Lewinberg more than Grange, partly because of this. I mean, Lewinberg will do a little doomsday kind of chicken little shit, but often he's very by the book and just kind of like being just the facts kind of guy. And that's why I value Josh Lewinberg more than Michael Grange, because Michael Grange will do that Debbie Downer chicken little shit very often. Seriously, he's all about that. Kareem saying, laugh out loud, freak out today, Friday on Grange. He's got Roger's dick in his mouth or needs some fisherman's friends. Laugh out loud. No, you go watch those interviews from yesterday and listen to him. He's uncomfortable to hear because you're like, golly, what is in your mouth? You got an oyster, a raw oyster swimming around in the back of your throat, Michael Grange? Clear your fucking shit out. Be ready for don't give him the first question if he ain't ready to ask it. Give it to Oren Weisfeld or somebody else in the media scrum if you're not ready, if you're not prepared, Michael. Why do you get asked it first if you're already like, oh, Grady, and then you're halfway through the question and you change the question and you go into this place? It's confusing. No wonder the players are like, what did you ask me? Or is it say like, wait, could you repeat the question, please? I didn't understand what you're saying. Yeah, nobody understood it because it's borderline not human language is what's coming out of him. Seriously. It is a Friday freak out on Grange and his gargling. That's right. Carlos saying, speaking of gargling, I am not looking forward to any more VC commentary games. Wow, you didn't like it, huh? I thought it was all right, man. Seriously, in some ways, listen, he's putting time in for our team, and that is going a long way with me. Seriously. I really do like that Vince is calling the games with Alvin. Part of it is the dynamics. Part of it is he's in a broadcast booth with Matt Devlin and Alvin Williams, and Alvin Williams has the ability to roast Vince Carter on live television with us. In some ways, Alvin can be the voice for some of us Raptor freaks that aren't totally pleased with the Vince Carter honoring, and he can roast him. I mean, he got in the jabs in the broadcast the other day. I thought that was you out on the court for a second there, Vince. A shorter version of you. Oh, wait, it's Mark Davis. That is hilarious that he said that he thought Mark Davis was Vince, and he's comparing them bald asses to each other. And that's hilarious. That's Alvin roasting Vince on there. And Vince is kind of like being a nice guy. He's like, oh, man, you're killing me already. Like, it's not even the end of the first quarter, and you're killing me, Alvin. And I'm here for it. And then, of course, the one later where he said they were talking about Vince and Kyle getting statues out in Jurassic Park. And Alvin said, basically, I will get 1,000 pigeons and release them out there. And Vince was like, what do you want those pigeons to do, Alvin? What do you want those pigeons to do? You figure it out, Vince. I mean, in some ways, that is entertainment in itself, Carlo. So listen, this is fantastic. The one thing I will be listening to when Vince is in the broadcast booth is if he's negging our team at any point, if he's kind of too gleeful about another team beating us, those kind of things are the thing I'm watching out for. If he's hometown team, if he's calling this game as a homer for the Raptors, he's going to earn points with me all year. And I'm going to be fine with him having his jersey in the rafters. And I will embrace the legend of Vinsanity in the proper way once again. In some ways, the healing's happening because of this for me. It's him investing 8 games of the season, calling the whole entire game with the sports net is a fantastic thing. And it goes a long way with a jaded old fan who hated him when he left and how he did. It goes a really, really long way because it does show that he's embracing his Raptor origins and really, really putting honor on it by coming back and being a part of our alumni like this. So it's having a complete opposite effect on me than it is to you. So looking forward to the next time he calls the game. I just hope he doesn't step in it at some point by saying something stupid. And who knows, every time he's on the mic, the opportunity for him to come clean and apologize to us about quitting on our team is there. And it could happen. In some ways, I want to listen just to see if he actually does it at some point. Because seriously, he could. In some ways, he doesn't have to do it for sure at this point. But if he did do it, it would cement me being like, oh my gosh, I love you, Vince. And I'm sorry that we ever had this bullshit happen between us because of the way things went with Raptors Nation and you. Seriously, all the years we booed you, I would apologize to you afterwards. If you apologize to us, I would apologize for booing the hell out of you for 15 years after you left Toronto. Seriously. Oh, man. Andrew's saying, I know they didn't even acknowledge Mobo hitting his first NBA 3. Yeah, I mean, they were a lot of talking back and forth. And in some ways, the game was out of hand. Once again, in some ways, having Vince in the broadcast booth with Alvin is a good distraction from the losing. And in some ways, that's part of this whole 30th anniversary thing that we're doing this year with all the alumni and the purple and the stuff like that. It's to distract, in some ways, the first year of a rebuild that's going to be difficult and the product on the floor may not be the most attractive. So, yeah, but that was awesome when Mobo got his first 3. Andrew's saying we had 3 rookies getting their first NBA bucket, and they didn't mention anything. They just kept yapping like it's a podcast. Yeah, I didn't mind that, though. They did acknowledge this shit. There were 4 rookies, actually. There weren't 3. There was Mobo, Shed, Shamshay, and Battle. All 4 of them were rookies making their first ever appearance and getting their first NBA baskets. And they all successfully did score their first NBA baskets in that game against Cleveland. So, yeah, Andrew's saying, by the way, Mobo is a career 50% three-point shooter. Well, we'll see. Maybe that's part of the reason why Carlson was expendable. Mobo's a pretty good center shooter, too. Stargate saying, yeah, I'm convinced Raptors Digest creates most of their content based on that ESPN trade machine. That's all they do now, gaslight about imaginary trade proposals. This is part of the reason why I stopped watching Greg, Gubstown Clink, is because he does a lot of trade proposals and trade machine shit on his. And when he started talking earlier this year about trading RJ from our team right after we got him, I was like, fuck this, Greg. I'm sorry. I can't put time into watching your channel anymore. When you're putting my guy RJ, who I highly value being on our team, being a Toronto man, in willy-nilly into trade machine ideas that you have. So, yeah, anybody who's using the trade machine for your Raptors content on YouTube, just stop. Please, especially you, Raptors Digest. And I was disappointed in Greg when he started doing that. That actually made me unfollow Greg when he started putting RJ's name in trade machines over and over again. I was like, fuck this shit. We just got our guy back. Why, Greg, why don't you value that? Why don't you value RJ being on our team at Gubstown Clink? Because that, seriously, that drove a wedge between me and him. That's specifically why. I stopped following Greg's channel. We just put out a piece for the beginning of the season. I don't want to watch it. I don't give a shit what Greg's doing because he's wasting my time with all the animations and the trade machine bullshit he's talking about over there. That's right. Trevor's saying, I was sick when I found you to be part of the 1000K. You were sick. You weren't feeling well. So you stayed home and you were like, oh, what's this? I'm bored. It's like Trevor J was like, man, I can't be out there giving $1,000 to somebody at the grocery store. I'm sick. So I have to stay home. I'm going to click on this channel. What is this? Whoa, this guy's crazy. He really is talking his mind. I love his passion. I have to watch him more. And then Trevor J became one of my biggest supporters and the commissioner of fun on my channel. I love that story, Trevor. And I'm glad you feel way better. I know Trevor's feeling real strong these days. That's right. He's ready to go out there with bundles of money, give it to the public, and fight anybody with Kung Fu style if he has to. That's right. Carlos saying the problem is we don't see who's spewing hate on social media. Hang on, it jumped. I want to make sure I don't miss this. In real life, we won't even engage with kids, hateful grandpa, mentally ill people. No, that is part of the issue with social media. And as Vince keeps talking about this, it's like, man, he didn't understand how he affected our community and he hurt our people in Canada, like broke our hearts. And in the age, if we had Facebook just a couple more years earlier than in 2004, he would have saw the impact of him turning his back on Toronto and Canada way more in his face. And he may have felt it a little bit more and looked at it a little bit more in a humanistic way like he does now. I think that's part of the weird journey that Vince has been on in his reunion with the Raptors this season is that he's understanding the impact of how much he hurt people like me. And he never would have understood that at that time because there was no Facebook, there was no social media, there was no Twitter for us to espouse our views like this. So in some ways, that's a positive aspect of us being able to get our voices out there because in some ways, these guys understand there's people behind this that you affect when you make the decisions you make. It's not just about what you wanted and what you wanted for this team, for you and your career events. It's what the Raptors fans wanted with you and what we wanted here in Toronto. And that's the thing that's been eye-opening to him. And in some ways, he spoke about this a few times about the impact of social media and how it's changed the way he understands things with the fans. And that's very interesting. It's very weird if we had the social media at that time when the Vince thing went through, it would have been a very different, weird thing. And it may have been a lot different, honestly. He may have handled himself way, way more better. In some ways, he got called out for what he did later on social media when it appeared. And it's like he didn't get the brunt of it fresh at that time because it wasn't there at that time. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, this is so true. There's so many people out there that are trolls, literally, that hide in a dark basement at a keyboard that really you wouldn't hear or have any thing to do with in any kind of way in your real life, but they have an avenue to get to you. And some of this shit is manufactured bots by Russia. You know, Tucker Carlson out as a Russian attaché at this point, and it's very legally out there at this point. There's people buying influence through Russia's buying bots, and everything Elon Musk is doing on Twitter is manipulated for his views to try and get you to think like him. So you realize this shit is out there, and don't just buy this bait. There's a lot of bullshit that MAGA's putting out there that sadly some of y'all are falling for. And don't fall for this shit. Seriously. It shows that it's a weak, critical thinking mind if you support Trump or if you support Poilievre, honestly. So, yeah, just understand the information's out there. The truth is out there. If you actually go to the real places where the truth is actually at, not Fox News, not Elon Musk's Twitter, you will find the truth out there. And it's not Rebel News. It's not bullshit like conservative radio in Canada either. So, yeah. All right, let's keep going. And also, we got to understand the difference between disinformation and misinformation. That one of them is very much on purpose, and it's crafted to fool people, gullible people, into getting to believe what they believe. And they'll use fear to make you guys scared, whether it's the fear of trans people, immigrants, whatever, the housing shortage, whatever they're using the fear that manipulate you and you're feeling it, that will maybe motivate you to not like Kamala Harris or Justin Trudeau, because they're paying to do that. There's a very much a smear campaign out there to try and take down Justin Trudeau. And they've been very successful at making him unpopular. But don't get it twisted. Somebody paid millions and millions of dollars for you to hate Justin Trudeau. And you just hooked on that line with them, hook, line, and sinker, like you're a fish. And they paid for you to feel that way. And I'm not about that. If big corporations and very, very rich people are paying for you to be influenced with your opinions, then you're basically their bitch. And that's your choice. I'm more aware enough and critical thinking enough to not fall in line with their bullshit. And when I hear so much anti-Trudeau stuff out there, I understand it's the big corporations paying for it because they don't like what he's doing to them and they want you to hate him. And that's the basic mechanism right there. Right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Drop my mic. Lex. That's right. Blackhawk saying, actually, Lex, once waived, you can get G League or overseas. Yeah, I know that. But in some ways, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The nucleus of this team is this. In some ways, once again, I ain't having this. We've had one game out of 82, and we're not discarding the coach, and we're not discarding any of the players, and we're not discarding the front office. It's way too early. Let's see how the record goes, and maybe around Christmas, maybe around sometimes there's adjustments. But once again, that's not for us to gauge or decide because we're ESPN trade machine people. No, Bobby Webster is in charge of GMing for this team, and it's his acumen, his experience, and his decisions that will be made about our personnel. That's the one thing I try to tell Raptors fans. Trying to be the coach. Maybe I can be helpful and insightful and point out something that I see, but I understand I have no power in this. And I think that that's the problem with the other people out there. They want to have more power in their own lives because they feel worthless and like a loser in their basement at a keyboard. And maybe they feel power from telling the Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster and Darko Rajakovic how to do their jobs. I ain't doing that. I ain't telling them how to do their jobs. Bruno Fernando's on this team because Bobby Webster wants him to be on this team. I stand with my GM. That's how it goes right there. That's right. Andrew's saying Sampson is great, man. Yeah, he is. Some ways he's a little too advanced, a little bit too PhD with some of his questions and the X's and O's. But honestly, he's refreshing. And it's just, in some ways, Samson Folk to me is a testament to where we've come as a fan nation with our education and our basketball knowledge. In the very beginning, I'm telling you, that Leo Routens and Jack Armstrong and them had to teach people what a double dribble was. They had to teach people the basic basketball rules. Canadian fans didn't know jack shit about basketball, and we started learning about the sport in '95 when the Raptors came around. And more we've learned of knowledge to the point where 30 years in, we can have Samson Folk in the media room asking high-level basketball philosophy and coaches scheming questions. And that's fantastic. That's a benchmark to show how far we came from where we were way back then to this point where Raptors fans can actually get great articles written by people like Warren Weisfeld and Josh Lundberg and Samson Folk about very good high-level basketball acumen kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right there. Mike saying people would talk about Eric Pascal and call him Pascal, and I would get confused. So I had to pay attention to the context to know which Pascal. He's an odd player. They were calling him the next day. Yeah. In some ways, I'm glad that Pascal is out because there can only be one Pascal. It's like Highlander. You can't have more than one Pascal in the league. It's like Madonna. It's like Prince. He's a one-name person. A Pascal is a Pascal. It's Pascal Siakam. So like Eric Pascal, I'm sorry, there's no room for you, man. There's no room. And then in some ways that was confusing. I remember that a little bit. That they were calling that guy Pascal. And I was like, wait, what? So I kind of remember what you're talking about, Mike. I kind of remember what you're saying there. Now, let's see. Andrew saying, I think Eric made an all-rookie team and then fell off a cliff. That's what I'm saying. Some of these guys get in the league and they're like, oh, I made my goal. I'm in the NBA. And then they just drop off because I made my goal. And then boom, you don't do any more work. Well, you're out of the league very quick. You have to continue to strive and work and do better and better. That's right. Yeah. Let's see. Stargate saying Vince obviously does not like Mark Davis. I was eating that up too. See, in some ways, they say if you have the same enemy, you are friends, right? So it's like, I don't like Mark Davis either. So in some ways, this was bonding me with Vince Carter, him ragging on Mark Davis during our game the other night. That was very like, he's like me. It's like, I was like Spider-Man with Vince all of a sudden. I was like, you're like me because you hate Mark Davis just like me. Mark Davis. It's like, I knew exactly what you mean without you fully spelling it out, Vince Carter. And I appreciate that you see this the same way as a lot of us in some ways. That's the thing I love about that too. Like that. Yeah. Stargate saying, Carlos, add basketball hating hockey fans and xenophobic American basketball fans to other teams to that social media list too. That's what I'm saying. How many of the Maple Leaf fans that treat the Leafs with a high turnover of their coach and all their players, and that, we got to understand the Leaf fan nation has an MO to how they want to discard people so quickly with their history of their franchise. Whether it's like, their GM situation, their coaching situation, or top level players, if there's people they're not happy with, they have actions in the way they act. And well, some of these people that are talking about Darko, they may be more percentage an NHL fan than an NBA fan. And they are just coming out here, and we don't know whether they're fully that or not mindset in the way that the Leafs deal with this. And that's why you can't take opinions from anyone. You believe what you believe and think about what you think. And I think and believe what I hear from the voices, the people that work for the Raptors. I mean, most of my content is derived not from a trade machine, but from me watching the interviews every single day the Raptors have practice or any Raptors official is talking. And not only do I watch these interviews once, I watch these interviews like 3 times. And I listen to them and I look at their body language and I get everything that I can read from them, so that when I do this channel and I reiterate points that are made by Grady Dick, Jamal Shed, and Darko Rajakovic at the practice interviews yesterday, I get it very right. And I say it from the horse's mouth, because I do not want to misrepresent the personnel of the Toronto Raptors franchise and say something that mischaracterizes what they say. In some ways, Scotty said this on his Twitch stream this summer. He said, I don't mind people making content about the Raptors as long as they're being positive and saying good things about us. And in some ways, I listen to that. I want to be fair. I want to be honest. But in some ways, once again, one of my main goals on this channel is to be positive and helpful to our franchise being successful in the future. And there's a lot of content makers in Raptors content land that are not adhering to this. That Raptors Digest with your trade machine and different people, you're not helping. You're hurting things by perpetuating stupid-ass ideas that other people that follow you will continue with. Penn State basketball. And that's what I would say about that right there. Is that may be a big difference between me and the other content makers, is I'm trying to help the team. And those people are just trying to get more subscriptions and clicks often is what they care about. And like I said, they'll engage with us in negative ways to get a reaction from you. So you will click on there and say, what the fuck? They're saying this about Scotty Barnes. I'm going to click on this and watch this. They got you because they got your ire and you clicked on it. And that's all they wanted. They didn't give a shit about giving you anything factual or informational or worthwhile. They just wanted you to click on it and get a rise out of you. And that's half of this shit that's out there right now. Is putting that kind of shit out there. It's crazy. It's crazy right now. And that's in some ways what we got to say right there. That's right. And Carlos saying exactly to what Stargate's saying. And Smooth saying it's scary the amount of misinformation that's out there and people are just believing it. The scary thing is there's very evil people out there that are trying to shape reality to their perception by putting very, very on purpose misinformation that they know is not true just to manipulate the masses. And that's why I say in the age of AI and this kind of bullshit, we need to have extreme critical thinking skills so that we can suss out bullshit and understand and think for ourselves. If you just blindly listen to Fox News, like a lot of older people do, and just believe everything you're saying, you are stupid as fuck. And you are getting lied to on the purpose every single. And another thing I would say about this is the Trump side of things is absolutely giving away what they're doing all the time, because one of their defense mechanisms is to accuse the other side of doing things that they're actually doing. So if they say that Kamala is doing this or the Democrats are doing this or Biden's doing this, they're the ones who are actually doing it, because there's one finger point at them, but the fingers that are real are the 3 fingers point back at them. It's absolutely a confession of guilt of what they're doing, because they deflect and they try and say, oh, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this. Well, listen to what they're saying and actually think about whether they're the ones that are doing what they're saying the other side's doing, because that's very often the case. That's part of their defense strategy. That's actually on that side of politics playbook. Is that, yeah, we're bad, we're going to do evil shit, but let's make it go on the offensive and we'll blame the other side of doing the shit that we're actually doing. That's something happening very commonly in politics right now in Canada and the United States, just so y'all know. Seriously. Stargate saying that New York trade was all Bobby Webster, but people still attribute it to only Masai. But it was Bobby who orchestrated that whole RJ and Quickly trade. You know, they work together, and they won't absolutely say, yeah, one or the other. But this is true. I do remember hearing that Bobby worked very hard on that New York trade with OG getting there and making it work. But you know what? If you talk to Webster and Ujiri about this, they're a partnership. And in some ways, they're going to say that they did this together. Even if you came at them and said, well, Bobby, you probably did most of it. He'd probably say, yeah, but Masai does the legwork, and he's a very important part of our decision making and what we decide. So I think that you may be right that Bobby did a lot of the legwork and the calls himself, but he's so gracious and humble. He would say that it was a team effort between him and Masai. That's right. Let's see. Mike Sand, VC ref mode, laugh out loud. See, I want to hear more of this. In some ways, I'm like, wow, Vince calling it as the home team for Toronto is refreshing because I've heard Vince call games on ESPN down south, and he's not for us down there. I've heard him mention us time to time, and it's not in a glowing light. But having him be a hometown announcer for us is refreshing. It's healing. And in some ways, I'm really excited to hear what he says next because maybe it is going to be more like the Mark Davis stuff he was saying. Who knows? The NBA is crazy, and we could have crazy things happen in games. And all of a sudden, Vince may be telling us a story about when he played on this team and his 8 teams that he played for and this situation. And this is what I remember from this, because there was a bit of storytelling like that in the first game of the season where Vince was telling great like stories from his career. And I like that stuff. I love that stuff. I eat it up. That's why I like Alvin in our broadcast booth, is because he has real experience as a real Raptor on the court in big time games, playoff games. And in some ways, that's the kind of person you want as your color guy on the broadcast crew. So, and then you have Vince with him. I'm telling and Jerry Lewis, as far as like Vince's D Martin and that wacky guy in the booth, he could be more sassy in there with Vince as a foil with him and Matt Devlin. So I like all of that stuff. That's right. Mike saying half man, half wrong calls. Laugh out loud. Half amazing. That's right. Kareem saying Pascali, the chef. I remember the great Pascali. And Pascal Siakam are the only Pascals I know. Maybe that's where Siakam got his nickname, Spicy P. There's also the language Pascal, right? It was a computer language, right? I think there was a computer language in early computing called Pascal. I think that was right. I vaguely remember that. Mike saying whistle through the legs, foul call. There you go. I like that. Andrew saying Blaise Pascal, inventor of the first calculator. That's right. That's what I was thinking of. And the unit Pascal was named after him. That's right. Wow, that's very factual. You know what? That gets a dunk right there. Andrew, you're going to get a dunk for that. I know Cowboy wanted to give you a dunk earlier. We're going to give you a dunk for information right there. 175, bringing up the inventor of the calculator today. Pascal invented the calculator. That's right. Cool Cat saying the new frontier is an information war. Education, impact, critical thinking, success. Well, that's part of the game plan. Doug Ford doesn't want to fund our schools because dumber people are easier to control. And the Republicans in the United States are doing the same damn thing. If they had their way, they would put all the money in private schools for the people that they want to get the good education. And they leave the public schools in a way that are just awful and nobody's learning anything because sheep are easier to manipulate. So educate yourselves. In the day and age of the internet, you have the ability to go and find out information for yourself and educate yourself. Some people don't even need to go to university at this point. You could learn everything without paying that tuition on your own if you have the discipline and you can get the access to the information. So just seriously, everybody, this day and age, it's better to be smarter and think for yourself more than ever. And I know a lot of people try and come here and I will like, yeah, listen to Lex, think like him. But in some ways, if you don't think like me exactly, I think that's important because I'm all over the place. And sure, some of the stuff I say politically, you don't have to agree with. But the basketball stuff, maybe you agree with some of that. You know, it's all mix and match. But in some ways, if you're just completely going along the lines with Donald Trump, well, you need to be like getting checked. If you're just taking whatever he says as gospel, and in some ways, this is how a dictator acts. If you don't go along and toe the line of what he's saying and you get out of line, well, you're not thinking for yourself. You are a part of just an extension of him and a zombie for him in some ways is what I would say. And that's a lot of what MAGA is, honestly. At this point, these are a lot of good people that are just really, really sad place in their life where they are following some sort of weird, twisted orange messiah is what I would say on that. That's right. This election's looking real good. I got my vote counted. I got a declaration has been counted in the state of Florida. And I'm also very proud to say that both my parents have gone and early voted in Atlanta, and their votes for Kamala Harris have also been counted already. The early voting numbers are looking very promising for the Democrats to win this election. If there's a very strong early voting in the history of US elections, the Democrats do very, very well. And that is the case right now. So I'm expecting a trouncing. I'm expecting a 30-point rout of Donald Trump on election day next month, is what I'm saying right now. We're on the home stretch. And I haven't been talking about the election as much. But yeah, Lex's vote has been counted. I've done my part to part the drop of the blue wave. And that's what I'm talking about right there. That's right. That's right. Let's go. All right, let's see. Cool Cat saying, guys, in workplace, there are roles and responsibilities. Every good, bad outcome is Masai's responsibility. Don't matter who did the details of the decision. Yeah, I mean, I get what is he's the job title, general manager. And in some ways, Masai is talked to and consulted on all major issues and all major decisions. And Bobby is doing the legwork. He's the one who's on the phone almost all day, talking to different GMs and different agents and different people around the NBA on a daily basis. That's part of the reason why, in some ways, Masai can go do Giants of Africa and a lot of philanthropic and overall vision stuff as the president of the Raptors. So that's part of it, is like the job title. But Bobby, don't get it twisted. Before he pulls that trigger on anything, Masai is there giving his a seal of approval and working with him as a brain trust to figure it all out logically so that we make the best decisions with whatever it is, with whatever we're doing in managing our team. So that's a big part of it right there. Cool Cat saying, any project I work on, the success or failure is my director's responsibility. Yeah, I mean, the buck stops at the top with the head cheese at the very top, and that is Ujiri. That is Ujiri. And for the WNBA Toronto team, that will be Resh. That will be Teresa. That's right. Kareem saying, Lex is warming up to Vince, but I'll never forget when he called him an NBA whore because he's been around the league. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's classic. I mean, I've thought about closing my archive and making it an even more premium service to be able to go back and watch old stuff that I did. But I feel like nobody would find value in that. But it is kind of weird because there is a daily time capsule that we can go back since I've been doing this channel. And like we could think about, well, what did Lex think about when this happened in the history of the Raptors? Nick Nurse did this bullshit. Well, we can literally go back and see my reaction the day after Nick Nurse got fired and go watch that stream right now. So there is a lot of fun stuff. But yeah, I did call Vince an NBA whore for playing for so many NBA teams. And that was just me off the cuff, going off and riffing. In some ways, I feel bad about that. I've been very mean to Vince in the month leading up to his retirement of his jersey. I did say some things about his mother that maybe wasn't so nice. And yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's all out there, good and bad, whatever I said. It's all out there. All the stupid shit I've done on this channel for 3 years. You can go watch it. It's embarrassing, but hey, it's out there. Let's see. Andrew's saying election day is going to be a blowout. I really do feel like this. You know, a lot of the swing states that are kind of battleground states are showing really good signs. You know, they're even saying that they think Florida is going to go blue this time. And that's a big deal. Florida's been red so historically. And in some ways, if Ron DeSantis could rig shit down there and go against the election stuff, he would to help him. But maybe not. He's also been at odds with Trump at times, too. That's the weird thing. Trump has a lot of enemies on his side because he's such an asshole. And there's a lot of people that probably would have helped him more wholeheartedly if he hadn't been such an asshole. And I think DeSantis is one of he is. Trevor's saying Donald Trump said he does not want to debate Harris for a second time. He declined. This is part of what's been really badass about what Harris has done. She went on Fox News herself, and she went into the lion's den on the other side and handled it very well. In fact, I'm hearing that appearance on Fox News turned a lot of people on the other side to her because she showed a lot of guts in doing that. Meanwhile, CNN's having a town hall. Donald Trump's supposed to be there, and he won't show up. And he knows it's because she will kill him. In fact, he's been shown recently in a lot of stuff being like a blithering fool. Like there's been a couple of rallies and different things he's done where he's very odd. And some of the stuff they were saying about Biden earlier this year is very true about Trump as far as how old he is and how much he doesn't look like he's got it all together up here right now. I mean, he is the oldest presidential candidate in the United States history right now. He's the oldest person to ever be at this point in an election like this. And he's going to go in against a sharp-tongued prosecutor that is tough on crime and tough on criminals, yeah, you go ahead and go to town hall with a prosecutor, you criminal ass Donald Trump, and you will get it from Kamala and live TV, and she will absolutely butcher him. So he's smart not to go there, but it also makes him look like a coward. And it also makes him look real bad for not showing up. That's right. That's right. That's right. Blackhawk's saying Satan is more concerned with running as president for 2028. Yeah, so is Vance. So is a lot of different people like that. Yeah, I don't know. This could be a real referendum, this election, especially if we come out in full effect with a huge blue wave and it just crushes MAGA and it crushes Donald Trump. He said that if he loses, he's going to move out of the country. Well, don't make me have more reasons to vote for Kamala Harris. Seriously, I'll go out there. There's an interesting aspect going on in the wrestling world with this election right now. There's wrestlers taking sides, and there's been a lot of releases in recent days. I saw a very cool video from Mick Foley yesterday, and he's coming out because The Undertaker had Donald Trump on his podcast recently, and Undertaker and Kane, the Brothers of Destruction, a very apropos name for people that are supporting MAGA right now. He's had him on there, and he's trying to say, well, the counterbalance is Dave Bautista and Mick Foley. So maybe we need to do this, Triple H and WWE. Let's get an old timers match, and let's get the Brothers of Destruction, wheel their sorry asses down there, y'all dumbasses, hook, line, and sinker with MAGA bullshit, Kane and fucking Mark Calloway. And we'll see you guys fight Mick Foley and Batista in Hell in the Cell for the election. That's right. I like these sides coming up. And there's a lot of people coming out of the woodworks and making their opinions very known. Bruce Springsteen, Beyonce, Kevin Bacon, Bryan Cranston. All these big name stars are coming out for Kamala right now. Who the fuck is coming out for Donald Trump, Kid Rock, and fucking Danica Patrick? Like, what is wrong? She's 42 years old. She never voted in her entire life. And she's deciding this time, I'm going to vote for the first time in my life. I'm voting for Donald Trump. You're voting for a rapist. And you never voted in your entire life? Danica Patrick, you're a dumbass, is what I'll say right there. That's right. That's what I'll say right there. That Atlanta rally that they just did with Barack and Beyonce and Kamala, woo, that was a hype rally that they did down there. Eminem coming out also and supporting Kamala Harris. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. That's right. That's beautiful stuff. That's right. Andrew saying the presidency should have an age cap. That's exactly right. You know, Obama said this on Tyrese Halliburton's old Young Man in the Three podcast recently. He said, young people, do you want old people telling you how to dress? Do you want old people telling you what to wear? Why would you want old people telling you what to do in the government? You need to get out there and vote. And vote is the way for you to tell them what you want to do and not have the old people tell you what to do. And I'm like, Obama, spit fire. Yes. In some ways, that's a way to appeal to young people. He's like, yeah, you're going to tell me what to listen to, Dad? You're going to tell me what to wear, Grandpa? No, don't get it twisted. I'm going to vote. So, yeah, they're killing it. They're killing it right there. It's so awesome. Blackhawk saying, one thing I know is Donald Trump can't move to Scotland. They hate him. I mean, there's probably a lot of places he couldn't go. You know where he could go, though? He could go to Russia. And he could go sit next to Vladimir Putin. I'm sure he have an open door to come right into fucking dumbass Russia and his dictatorship over there. And he could be part over there. I'm sure that's where he would go, maybe. I bet you he would. He'd go to Russia, probably. That's right. Trevor's saying Beyonce is going to be with Harris today in Houston. That's a beautiful thing. That's an amazing big deal. Taylor Swift has an effect. In some ways, these young people are coming out there. Kamala Harris has been doing a lot of very interesting podcasts and things to get to different voters, and it's been very, very successful. Very, very successful. Blackhawk saying Undertaker always had these views because he wore thin blue line shirts. Yeah. And I mean, I get it. In some ways, we got to understand this. Undertaker, I just recently watched the Mr. McMahon series on Netflix. The Undertaker really loves Vince. In some ways, he's described him as a father. He said he'd take a bullet for Vince McMahon. And in some ways, we got to understand the extension of the family here of Donald Trump and Vince McMahon being birds of a feather. In fact, the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix is very insightful to a psychopath's mind. And in some ways, Vince McMahon is a psychopath. He's a sociopath. He's a very sick person. In fact, at one point in the series, he talks about having multiple minds. Like, I have my regular mind, and then I have this other mind that's always thinking wild and crazy sexual things. Like, he's deranged, seriously. And in some ways, the whole thing is that Vince and Donald are very much the same kind of person. They're crazy ass, malignant narcissists. And in some ways, Donald Trump and Vince are best friends. So if Undertaker, Mark Calloway, is very much like Vince is my father. I owe my whole entire career and all my greatness to my life. Is very selfish reasoning for why Mark Calloway is on that side. I'm going to stay with Vince because I'm completely loyal to Vince. So there's a lot of that reasoning why Mark Calloway is for Donald Trump is because of how close he is to Vince McMahon. And that's a big part of it right there. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Kareem saying jealous. Vince is disgusting. He really is. And don't get it twisted. Donald Trump is the exact same person. P. Diddy is the exact same person. There's a certain type of predatory, malignant narcissist that is very disgusting in what they do to people. Grab them by the pussy is the big sign there. All of the sexual assault claims against Vince McMahon are the same as the sexual assault claims against Donald Trump, Harvey Weinstein, P. Diddy. There's a certain type of powerful person that is in our midst. And these guys are very, very, very textbook examples of this. Seriously. Yeah. He used to pimp out his wrestlers. Yeah. He's done a lot of really crazy shit. Let's just put it that way. The stuff that is known is just scratching the surface. Vince McMahon has a lot of dirty ass shit from his life. Trust me. And so does Donald. Trust me. Yeah. Vince McMahon is a predator. He's very much a predator. And so is Donald. So is Donald. He's very much. In fact, they're saying there's something that Donald's going to come out with Donald in the next couple of days where he's groping an underage woman at one of his fundraisers recently. Like he's totally a predator. They both are. Kareem saying it's actually scary now that North Korea is now in Russia pairing up with the troops. AJ Griffin might be onto something. Jeez. All right. Yeah, I'm at 2. Enjoy the game tonight and your Friday legs. Congrats again on 1,000K. Yeah, I may have turned some people off with my political discussion just now, but it is just what it is. I have not done the Instagram stories, and there's a couple of other things to do real quick. Let me do that. Lloyd is celebrating the Thunder's victory over the Nuggets last night. He is a big-time Thunder fan. Guys, the Raptors 905 are welcoming back Miles Burns. He was our draft pick last year on 905, and I knew he'd be back for us. And now we know in the last 2 days that Kevin O'Banner and Miles Burns will be playing for 905 once again. The rich get richer. This team is just stacked. And I'm going to have to do a depth chart for the 905 to figure out exactly what Coach Andrew Jones is working with on the 905 because there's so many players involved in them. They're absolute badasses. And I really do think that 905 are going to be one of the top G League teams this year just because of the depth of our talent on that team. Jamal Shed is celebrating the Texas Longhorns on his Instagram. Paul Jones and Eric Smith have Lucas Bebe Nogueira on their latest episode of Smith and Jones. Y'all support. That is good Raptors content. That is knowledgeable, non-toxic, good Raptors content. Eric Smith, Paul Jones, longtime Raptors people, and they got Bebe Nogueira in a great interview on their latest episode, the first one of the season. So definitely support and give a follow to them on there. Let's see, Norman Powell. Y'all, just a fun fact real quick. I don't know if y'all know this, but Norman Powell, Raptors champion, is the first person to score a basket in the brand new Intuit arena for the LA Clippers. The first points ever scored in that building and opening it up is our guy Norman, just so y'all know. That's the history there. Let's see who else we got. Davion Mitchell wearing the purple for the Raptors before the game. And there he is. He's got more motivational speakers talking on his Instagram stories and also talking about Christ. There's Jacoby Walter standing in the line for the anthems with Garrett Temple and the Raptors. There is also with Bruce Brown and Garrett Temple and walking through the jungle to get in through the hall before the game. They have released the in-season tournament court. It is the one that was leaked earlier this month that we saw before. I was pretty sure it was because honestly, it was too like built the same way. Now the Spurs court this year looks a lot like our court last year with the black and gold. It's very sharp looking. But yeah, we got a purple in-season tournament court this year. I've talked about this already. I did a whole stream on the in-season tournament courts and how I feel about them. I don't feel like espousing right now on that. But yeah, let's see what else. We got game day showing up there. Jay Nathan saying first game of his NBA career is in the books. There you go, J-Mo. Get out there and get your second game tonight. Get a bunch of rebounds and help the Raptors win against Coach Nick Nurse and the Sixers. That's right. There you go. I think that's it for the Instagram stories. We'll do the finish up rundown right now. Let's see. Trevor saying Vince and Donald going to end up starting how to catch a predator. You know, over time in history, this predatory type of malignant narcissist be textbook examples of this over time. Watch. Monique saying, stay locked in. Hi, Raptor Freak crew. Good morning to you, Monique. I am an Alexathon, and I'm glad you could say hi to us this morning. Here's our injury report. Once again, going over it right at the end. Kelly Olynyk is out tonight for sure. Bruce Brown is out tonight for sure. Jacoby Walter is out for tonight for sure. Both RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley are doubtful, but I'm going to guess that RJ shows up. Emmanuel doesn't. So that's my educated guess. They're going to be starting Davion Mitchell, Grady Dick, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl tonight will be our starters. On the other side of things, Joel Embiid is not in Toronto. Neither is Paul George. Caleb Martin is doubtful, or no, probable, actually. So they'll be probably starting Tyrese Maxey, Eric Gordon, Kelly Oubre Jr., Yabusele, and Andre Drummond. And this Sixers team, in some ways, doesn't look as deep or good as last year's team. I don't know how they did that. I thought they improved themselves this summer, but I don't know if that's true, honestly. So we got a chance. Let's beat Nick Nurse tonight. Our referees are Tony Brothers, Pat Frere, and Tyler Merkovich. Tony Brothers favors the Sixers, and Pat Frere and Tyler Merkovich favor the Raptors, just so y'all know. All right, there's your ref report once again at the end. And, yeah, we talked about Kawhi Leonard today already. Yeah, and that's about it. I think that's everything. Oh, birthday today. Happy birthday to NBA champion and former Delaware Blue Coat and former Toronto Raptors champion, Patrick McCaw. It is McCaw's birthday today. So in salute to you, Patrick, I'm going to do a bird call. McCaw, McCaw, McCaw. There you go. McCaw. All right, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak Extended Lexathon for our game tonight against Philadelphia. Y'all, come and take it to them. Bounce back from the very poor opening night Raptors and take it to the Sixers tonight. And let's get that first win for Coach Darko versus Nick Nurse. I really want this to happen, and tonight could be the night. So let's get the first victory against the Sixers. They lost their first game. They're going to be hungry to try and win too, but maybe we can do something. Maybe they don't have their shit together yet, and maybe we can surprise them and steal one from them. That's right. Andrew's saying Kyle Lowry dropping 100 tonight. No way, bro. No way Kyle Lowry's dropping 100 tonight. And Mo's saying congrats on 1,000 subscriptions. Thank you, Mo. It's a big deal, and you're a big part of helping me get there. And your support has been so essential and helpful to me getting there, and I appreciate you so much. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and join. And I'm sorry if my politics turned you off. That's just my own personal opinions. The views and opinions expressed on this channel are not endorsed by the Toronto Raptors personally. They're a franchise. Some of them may, but not all of them. And they're solely my own. And they're not necessarily to be yours either. I just want to educate and maybe give you guys a piece of my mind to understand the whole big picture of misinformation, disinformation, perception, and the war that is going on in our world in the information war. And in more critical thinking and can think for yourself, you can figure out the evidence and the truth and the whole thing of it, and you will be better off for it. Trust me. All right. I love you guys. Let's go. Let's get a reaction tomorrow to a game win over the Sixers tonight. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Let's go, Raptors. Let's get that W, baby. Let's beat Nick Nurse. Yeah. Butthole face. Let's go.